I'll go, don't get excited, goddess. Several of the big men present felt that something was wrong, so they called out to Rena loudly to calm each other down. Zhao Fei, can you solve this situation? Rose and Lien Feng also knew the seriousness of the matter after talking, and walked to Zhao Fei's side with an ugly face and asked, Don't worry, look at me. Faced with this situation, Zhao Fei's face still did not change, and he looked at Rena in midair and said, Goddess, this should be your last resort. Immediately after that, under the unexplained gaze of everyone, Zhao Fei shouted, Silence! Rena, who was in midair, was instantly affected and fell directly, and then Zhao Fei rushed to the other party, put the sword in his hand on her neck, showed a faint smile on her face, and said, The goddess conceded. It's as simple as that. Ge Xiaoluan's eyes were full of disbelief. He couldn't imagine that this silence was so useful. No, he thought about it. When he used this trick in the face of Lu Chuang before, it didn't have much effect, and he couldn't play the role he did today. If Zhao Fei knew Ge Xiaoluan's inner thoughts, he would definitely laugh. After all, this baby was a little unlucky, and his ability to oppose the void happened to meet a reckless man, coupled with unfamiliarity, which caused the first time he used it to fight did not play its due role. But at this moment, Zhao Fei didn't care what this guy thought. He just put the weapon on Rena's neck, looking at this simple goddess with an unbelievable look, and suddenly felt very cool. Anti-void? Rena's tone was full of disbelief. Who could tell her what was going on? Didn't it mean that this thing was owned by the power of the galaxy? How can this product be used as well? Stop talking nonsense, goddess, surrender. In this case, don't move around. A friendly reminder. My weapons are relatively sharp, and if you move so indiscriminately, it's not good if you accidentally hit the ground. Zhao Fei didn't answer Rena's question, but just said lightly. And Zhao Fei's advice sounded like a warning to Rena's ears. Warn him to cut off his head if she doesn't surrender. Rena wanted to struggle for a while, but after feeling the coldness in her neck, decided not to gamble. Okay, you're amazing, the goddess gives you a face, count me as a loser today. When Rena finished saying this, the system also sounded. Ding, congratulations to the host for completing the mission. Get the 3rd generation God Body Upgrade Coupon X1. Do you want to pick it up? No. Zhao Fei didn't care about this dead duck's hard-mouthed goddess, and after hearing her say surrender, he simply put away the weapon. After all, the reward had already arrived. If you continue to mess with her, it will be no good to oppose yourself. Rena also stood up after seeing Zhao Fei put away his weapon and patted the dust on her body. I underestimated you this time, and I won't let you succeed so easily next time. I said that the little handsome guy is not interested in coming to Liang to develop. If he does a good job, he may live a life of one person under 10,000 people. It's not impossible to be a royal husband. Rena didn't feel annoyed by the defeat at the moment, but stared at Zhao Fei with glowing eyes. After all, with the anti-void gene, coupled with the strength that Zhao Fei showed today, if the other party does not fall, he will be a super god. While the other party has not yet become a god, this is the best time to invite him. And the so-called Wang Fu is just verbal, and it doesn't depend on her whether it will succeed or not. Zhao Fei was also surprised. He couldn't imagine that this kind of 2 goddesses would throw an olive branch to him. This has never happened in the anime. It seems that it is because this group of super genes has been assigned, and he can still fight for this exception. It's just that this Hanin really underestimates him, and wants to deceive him with this kind of behavior of painting a big pie, dreaming. Give him a little time to develop, and he is sure that he will let the 2 goddesses sing and conquer, and he doesn't need this kind of verbal agreement at all. It's just that Zhao Fei hasn't opened his mouth yet, but 2 girls came. No. X2. At this time, 2 beauties came menacingly in front of these 2 people. If you want to kidnap my brother, you're dreaming. Shilin heard that this goddess actually wanted to kidnap her precious brother. How could this work? This was her child husband. This guy belongs to Earth. The reason why Rose opened her mouth was because the strength of the Earth was not good now, and Zhao Fei was much more powerful than those crooked melon crackers, so she definitely couldn't let the other party be taken away. Cut, you really don't know that this thing is only a pseudonymous super divine academy, and it hasn't even joined the male soldier company. So everybody is equal when it comes to solicitation. Let's not talk about Qilin. After all, Zhao Fei's relationship with the other party is too close, but Rose is not qualified to accuse her. In a sense, everyone is an alien, and whether they can recruit each other into their command depends on their own means. I'll go, everyone is human, why is he so good? I also want to be fought over by a group of goddesses. Yes. Zhao Xian and the others looked at Zhao Fei, who was surrounded by 3 goddess-level figures, and their eyes showed envy. Well, listen to me first. Zhao Fei interrupted the quarrel between these goddesses and said, Thank you, Goddess Rina, for her kindness. I'm used to being free, and I don't have any idea of joining anywhere else for the time being. Of course, if you want to develop a relationship with me now, this can still be dropped. In case of negative distance, I might have said yes. After Rina heard that Zhao Fei rejected him, she didn't have much regret in her heart. After all, she was just trying, but the next words of the bandit made her want to bite this guy to death. This just wants to prostitute her for nothing. What is the possibility of agreeing under negative distance contact? To put it bluntly, it's the kind that wants to prostitute her and don't give money. Get out. Phew, scumbag. Qilin and Rose were also very happy when they heard Zhao Fei's refusal at first, but then Zhao Fei's words resonated with them as women. At the same time, the 3 of them scolded at the same time. Immediately after that, no one kicked Zhao Fei's calf and then turned around and left. Back to Zhao Fei feeling confused. Rina kicked me and forgot it. What's the matter with you two? Alright, that's all for today. Tomorrow we will start training and disperse. Rina came up to the group and said that it was time to disband. And at this time, everyone also knew that it was time for them to flash. After all, after witnessing the combat effectiveness of these 2 people, although Rina lost, the other party was not weak to them at all, and now that this eldest sister was deflated, it would not be good for her to stay. That's it, big sister, let's flash first. Yes. It's time to go back to the dorm to collect your clothes. Immediately after that, a few big bosses ran as fast as if something dirty was chasing them behind them. In the crowd, Ray Mingming stayed, and the atmosphere was silent for a while, and Zhao Fei and the 4 women in front of him were staring at each other. In this case, Zhao Fei took the lead in breaking the silence. Well, I flashed first when I had something. After finishing speaking, he directly opened the wormhole and slipped away. Rose saw Zhao Fei's wormhole playing so slippery, and thought in her heart whether she should discuss it with him another day. Qilin saw Zhao Fei, who ran away directly, and thought in her heart that this stinky brother didn't even take her. When Rina saw the goods leave, she clapped her hands and spoke to the women who were left behind. Let's go, leave those guys alone, let's go to dinner. I got into a fight with that guy and I was hungry. After Rina spoke, everyone did not object. After all, they are all in the same dormitory, and having a meal together can make each other more familiar. And after returning to the room at this moment, Zhao Fei couldn't wait to rub his hands and rub each other's inner system. System, claimed the reward. Ding! Reward has been distributed. Immediately afterwards, a golden card appeared in Zhao Fei's hand, and this time Zhao Fei knew how to use it, so he didn't imitate Sakura's movements like before. I was going to tear it apart directly, but suddenly I thought of something, and the movement at hand stopped. Will I make a big move in this upgrade of the system? Ding! No. The host can upgrade with peace of mind. The system will block out the energy emitted during the upgrade. After hearing the words of the system, Zhao Fei was also relieved. After all, he was now alone in the Bible. No one was crying on the side. In case someone used some of your guys to hack him, he didn't know where to cry when he cried. Immediately after that, Zhao Fei directly tore the upgrade coupon in his hand in half. After being split into 2 halves, the upgrade coupon changed to generate a little bit of golden light, which poured into Zhao Fei's body. Zhao Fei immediately felt the changes in his body. Regarding this situation, Zhao Fei closed his eyes and felt it quietly. Just as Zhao Fei was upgrading, several goddesses came to the dining hall and sat together after finishing the meal. Qilin, tell the goddess me, what kind of Jin is your brother? It's just a name, there's no need to hide it, right? Rena really couldn't hold back the doubts in her heart, and planned to ask Qilin. Rose pricked up her ears when she heard Rena's question about Kirin. After all, she was also curious. And Ray Meng said that she didn't understand their high-end topic, so she chose to work hard. After Qilin heard Rena's words, she fell into silence, and thought about it. It was just a name, and it wouldn't cause any trouble to Zhao Fei. After all, the name was just a code name, so there was no need to hide it. I've only heard him say what he calls Lord of the Stars. As for his equipment and abilities, I don't know, he didn't tell me. Lord of the Stars? Interesting, although I haven't heard of this Jin, I still have the power I feel today when I hear the name. It is very likely that it is the main god Jin of a certain civilization. In fact, Rena knows very well that what is this called possibility. It is clear that it is her own light of the sun, but the main god Jin of the sun, and she is still a third-generation god, and the other party is just a super soldier. Whether it is Jin's ability or equipment, she will crush herself. And the shape of the equipment can't fool people. Qilin didn't care about Rena's words, because he had a lot of things that he didn't know about now, but he didn't feel the right thing. The main god Jin is the same as that guy Gushulin? Isn't he some galactic force, known as the future god of the galaxy? When Rose heard the word, Lord God, she remembered that her old bean had been nagging about what kind of galactic power, the future god of the galaxy and something like that. But compared with Zhao Fei today, it is completely a heaven and a place. The galaxy really has a main god. It is better to let Zhao Fei be the one. Yes, the galactic force is indeed the future master god of the galaxy. But this Lord of the Stars isn't simple. I haven't heard of where he's coming from, but that anti-void ability alone is enough for him to run rampant in the universe. And the other party has more than this ability, which is hell. To be honest, Rena still can't figure out what kind of big-handed civilization came up with this thing. After all, the power of the galaxy is known as the highest masterpiece so far, and it is not because of the anti-void, but only the ability of the anti-void and the invincible body are more convenient to beat. But Zhao Fei's Lord of the Stars has experienced it. In addition to the anti-void, there is also the ability of gravity, and the ghost knows if there is anything else hidden and unused. So, in fact, my brother is very powerful? There was a little uncertainty in Qilin's tone, although she had heard her brother say that her strength was okay. But now that the alien goddess in front of him has said so, it is estimated that he is really not bragging. Yes, I haven't become a god yet. I can only say that I have a little strength. After becoming a god, you will have an eternal lifespan, and there are many abilities in all aspects, which is very different from that of super soldiers. If there is no strong civilization behind him, relying on the earth alone, he will not be able to become a god at all. After all, genes are the foundation. It takes a lot of resources to become stronger. So I said, how about you and your brother joining us directly in the sun, and I can guarantee the resources for him to become a god as the main god. Rena didn't forget to fly Zhao over to her own Liang at the moment. After all, he could be sure that the other party's potential was no worse than the power of the galaxy. As for Qilin, anyway, with the genes of a sniper, she could afford to raise Liang. No need, the earth can still let him grow. Rose spoke first, for fear that Kirin would be moved by Rena's words. When Rena heard Rose's words, a disdainful smile appeared on her face. Wouldn't you be naive when I said Rose? You must know that the earth itself does not have many resources, and even if there is, it will give priority to the power of the galaxy. No matter how bad it is, it's on the Nova God of War, or you do, Rose. As for Zhao Fei, basically don't think about it. Rena was not polite, and directly spread out the words, after all, this is the truth. And Rose was also speechless when she heard Rena's words. After all, she knew that Rena's words were not wrong, and she knew how persistent her father was with the power of the galaxy. Rena looked at Rose, who couldn't speak, and turned her gaze to Qilin and said, Qilin, listen to my sister's persuasion. If you want Zhao Fei to grow up, you'd better persuade him to join Liang. After all, there is a civilization behind him, which is better than developing alone. This time, Qilin didn't refuse at the first time, and after listening to Rina's words, she probably understood that her brother's desire to grow up was not as easy as she imagined. At least on the Earth, there were no resources. Well, I'll tell him about it. After all, I'm not him, and I can't make decisions for him. In other cases, Qilin would definitely refuse. After all, Zhao Fei is an Earthling. If he joins other civilizations, what is the matter? But when she thought that Zhao Fei needed to grow, the scale in her heart unconsciously shifted. After all, people have selfish intentions. Well, anyway, the door of my scorching sun is always open for the two of you. Rina didn't rush to let Qilin make a decision. After all, the main master was not here, and Liang and the Super Divine Academy cooperated, so he was not allowed to plan these super soldiers. But it just so happened that Zhao Fei and Qilin were not on this list. So if there is an opportunity to solicit, she will definitely not let it go. Just such a silent lunch was spent in the complicated minds of several people, except for Ray Mengmeng. But what Rina didn't expect was that Zhao Fei, who had always thought she was a second-generation super soldier, was already about to become a god at this moment. After all, when he was at the airport, Zhao Fei was just a second-generation super soldier, and he was still a second generation when he killed Suotan. When I first fought with her, I didn't show the energy of my 3 generations of super soldiers at all. That's why she always thought that Zhao Fei was just a second-generation super soldier, and to become a god, she still needed to go through 3 generations of super soldiers, and then she had to spend a lot of resources to become a god. And Zhao Fei, who was discussed by the women, was also discussed by the 3 friends in B210 at this time. Emma, I didn't expect you to be beaten on the first day of Shaolin today. No, first they deceived me into being at the same table, and then they beat me like that the next day. It's just too much. Gu Xiaolun replied with resentment after hearing Zhao Xian's words. After all, he was originally pitted, but he was beaten up on the first day of the gathering. Where is this reasonable? The other party should give us a dismount, just use Lu Chuang to kill chickens and make an example. It's just that Xiaolun himself went up to give away the head. Qing Yaowen analyzed. At this time, after hearing this, the other 2 thought about it carefully, patted their thighs and said, Emma, that's true. Gu Xiaolun also patted the table very dissatisfied. Damn, the feeling is that I go up to give people their heads by myself. At this time, Gu Xiaolun also understood that after his blood was on the rise at that time, he was beaten. But seeing the battle between those 2 people today really opened my eyes. Why is it that I am also a super soldier, but I don't have that kind of power? I'm not the same. I can't see that I'm being beaten and I can't fight back. It's just a sandbag. I'm the same. That's right. I said, Xiaolun, what is the origin of your classmate? How can you fight like this? Or he's always been so good. Zhao Xian suddenly thought that buddy could beat Rina like a sandbag. At first glance, he is not an ordinary person. Chen Yaowen, who looked honest, also spoke curiously. That's right, how can that sun goddess say that she is also a 3rd-generation god, and she was actually pressed and beaten by him, which is a bit unscientific. Chen Yaowen, as the Prince of Denuo, knows more things than the 2 guys in front of him. 3 generations of gods, who had received formal education since childhood, were pressed into the ground by a wild super soldier and rubbed. This kind of magical situation can only be seen in novels. After all, they are all about science. Gu Xiaolun rubbed his head with his thumb after hearing the words of the 2. In fact, he also wanted to know why. To be honest, I'd like to know that even though I'm roommates with Phineas, he's been pretty bland. Just like today when he fights with that goddess, I haven't seen him exercise at all. Also, I woke up to the super gene after a fight with that hooligan Lu Chuang, and he was also present at the time, and he was also stunned by the old rascal. At this time, the 2 were also shocked when they heard Gu Xiaolun's words. In this way, that buddy probably activated the super gene at that time. This Nima, why are we so wasteful when compared to him? Are we activating fake genes? Zhao Xian was a little skeptical of life at the moment. After all, after activating the genes, he felt that the strength in his body had become much greater, and his speed was much faster. He had become a little Superman, but compared with Zhao Fei, he was completely an ordinary person who could not be more ordinary. But Qing Yaowen didn't speak, but his pupils shrank. He thought that Zhao Fei's genes were not simple, and it was very likely that the third-generation level had the potential to become the main god. Under normal circumstances, this kind of person must be taught well. Even if the relationship is not good, it cannot be offended. After all, there is no need. Although he was born as a prince and has been a farmer for many years, he has not forgotten what he learned when he was a child, and he already knew what his attitude towards Zhao Fei should be in an instant. And Zhao Fei, who is being discussed by this group of people, is almost complete at this moment. At this time, the energy emanating from Zhao Fei's body was already close to the peak. And he also felt that every cell in his body was full of power. After a while, click. There was a bang. Zhao Fei's ability exploded, but because of the system, this space was blocked, and not a single trace escaped out. Otherwise, it is estimated that the entire dormitory building will be washed into ruins by this energy. Cool! At this time, Zhao Fei opened his eyes and couldn't help but shout. Zhao Fei got off the bed, stretched his waist, let his body stretch, and felt that his body was full of strength now, and the whole person was good. He had a feeling that he could easily kill himself when he was a third-generation super soldier. System, do you have a panel? Ding, please don't ask such retarded questions. This would make the system look very low. Zhao Fei didn't expect that he just asked an ordinary question, but he was sprayed wildly by the dog system, and suddenly he had a feeling that it was too difficult to be in array. Forget it, I'm too lazy to bother with this. Opens the people panel. After Zhao Fei said a silent sentence in his heart, a light curtain appeared in front of him. Host Zhao Fei. Super Gene, Lord of the Stars. Level, 3 generations of divine bodies. Currently has equipment, Sword of the Stars, upgradable, Armor of the Stars, upgradable. Possession items, Angel Yen lifelike humanoid pillow, Angel pajama set, 1 to 3 generations of super soldier knowledge encyclopedia. Special item, virtual battle space opened. Zhao Fei took a look at his panel, and felt a little embarrassed. After all, other people's things are very rich, but his own family background of a third-generation god is not as good as a second generation of others, and the third-generation super soldier is a little embarrassed to say it. Zhao Fei raised his hand and directly closed the panel in front of him. Then he sat down on the bed, thinking seriously about what he had lacked so far. After a little thought, it seems that there is still a lot missing. After all, after becoming a god, he began to fight for computing and knowledge. The accumulation of one's own knowledge is only the amount of 1 to 3 generations of super soldiers. But where should I get the knowledge after that? Don't think about it, after all, I'm just a name. The knowledge that can be obtained here is nothing more than a library, and he dares to pack a ticket, which is at most something that the first and second generations of super soldiers learn. There are not even 3 generations in a minute, let alone the knowledge after becoming a god. Even if there is, it is privately kept by these people, and they will definitely not let themselves learn. And what I want to have most now is the divine code, and after having this thing, I can get a void controller to maximize the ability to counter the void. After all, he is not Gu Xiaoluan. There is a future angel queen and a ruined angel to assist him. If you want to have these, it seems that you have to rely on your own hoe swinging skills. As the saying goes, the hoe swings well, there is no corner of the wall cannot be dug down. Xiaoluan has wronged you, you still continue to lick your rose, angel brother Yen helped you accept it. Zhao Fei said that although Rose is good looking, he has little interest in her. Looking at the rest of the days, I can be rotten, at least until Morgana comes. It is estimated that after Morgana's arrival, he has another wave of tasks to improve. It's just that it's a question of whether I can fight Morgana in the face of it, and I'm afraid that this dog system will run out and be a demon, and I'll have to fight with her or something. Just as Zhao Fei was thinking about life, someone knocked on his room door at this time. Zhao Fei was also curious about who was looking for him at this time, and when he opened the door, he saw Qilin standing outside the door. At this time, Zhao Fei was a little surprised. Why did Qilin come to find him at this time? Surprised, but also immediately let Qilin in. After all, let the other party stand at the door. What is the matter? Sister, come in and sit down as if you were going back to your own home. Qilin was not polite, and walked in directly to find a place to sit down, and then looked around carefully and couldn't help but sigh. I envy you for living in a single room, which is much more empty than our 4-person dormitory. Although the dormitory is not crowded, compared to you, I suddenly feel bad. Zhao Fei smiled after hearing Qilin's words and said, Sister Qilin, I actually feel empty. In fact, you can also move over, especially at night. Although my bed is not big, it is a single bed, but it is still okay for the 2 of us to squeeze it. Qilin's face turned red when she heard Zhao Fei's words, and then she puffed out her mouth and opened her mouth angrily. Okay, you, now that you're bold, even I dare to tease. I said that I learned from someone. Qilin couldn't imagine that her stinky brother was so bold now, and then stretched out her white and tender little hand, intending to pinch Zhao Fei's ears. But how could Zhao Fei do what he wished, only to see Zhao Fei reach out and grab the hand that stretched out to his ear, hold the white and tender little hand in his big hand, rub it by the way, and said with a smile on his face, It's so tender. Oops, you let go. Really, it's getting bolder. Qilin couldn't have imagined that Zhao Fei would grab her hand and use his hand to play with it. And Zhao Fei didn't let go after hearing Qilin's words, but pulled Qilin, who was sitting on the chair, up, let Qilin stick to his body, and wrapped his other hand around Qilin's small waist. With an evil smile on his face, he spoke, Sister, let you see what it means to be bolder. After finishing speaking, he lowered his head and printed it on Qilin's small mouth. Qilin didn't expect Zhao Fei to come and attack suddenly. This was her first kiss. This stinky brother took it away without a sound. Can't you pick a better time? Qilin, who was originally thinking wildly, began to come back to her senses as time passed, and gradually felt that she was a little out of breath. Just when Qilin felt that she was not angry enough, then Zhao Fei let go of her, and licked her mouth, and said, It's so sweet. This time, Qilin has turned into a vapor. She doesn't know what to say for a while. Her heart is full of complicated emotions, and she is happy that Zhao Fei will take the initiative to attack. But what makes her unhappy suddenly attack? Caught her off guard, she didn't know what to do. Although she was a policewoman, it can be said that she has had countless suitors since junior high school, but he was bent on Zhao Fei, a child husband, so those suitors were all rejected by her, and so far she was just a little girl who had never been in love in terms of feelings. So I don't know what to do now. And Zhao Fei, who was the attacker, saw Qilin's helpless appearance, and also knew that his child daughter-in-law didn't know what to do for a while because she was too shy. Looks like it's time to adjust the atmosphere yourself. Sister, how about we do it again? After Zhao Fei finished speaking, he lowered his head again, as if he wanted to relive the feeling. After Qilin watched Zhao Fei's movements soberly at the moment, she was like a frightened rabbit, and instantly escaped from Zhao Fei's arms. If you look closely, you will find that Zhao Fei didn't hold Qilin hard at all, and he had already let go of his hand at this moment. Otherwise, how could Qilin escape with Qilin's physical fitness? Because Zhao Fei knew very well that Qilin was already very embarrassed at this moment, he deliberately dispelled the atmosphere like this. And Qilin, who escaped from Zhao Fei's arms, glanced at him very dissatisfied, and said angrily, Humph! The next time you dare to do this, I will ignore you. Zhao Fei looked at Qilin, who pouted, and felt that it was very cute, and he almost couldn't help but bully her again. But he couldn't help it. After all, he knew very well that the rice should be eaten one bite at a time. After all, he couldn't push it too hard at the beginning, otherwise it would be difficult to eat meat next time. Zhao Fei can still tell the truth of a satiety meal and a full meal. All right, Sister Qilin, did you come to me for something? Zhao Fei knew very well that there must be something wrong with Qilin coming to him at this time. And Qilin remembered at this time that he had something to find this stinky brother. but this guy bullied her as soon as he came in, making her almost forget about business. Humph, it's not you, you bullied me so much for no reason, I almost forgot about business. Qilin directly gave Zhao Fei a big look, and then said, Just now, when I was eating at noon, the goddess of the sun came to recruit you again. Qilin didn't say anything about recruiting them, because she knew very well that she was just an incidental Rina, and her target was always Zhao Fei. She told me what's at stake, and that if you continue to stay on Earth, there may not be a way to escalate further. It's impossible to become a so-called god, it's a waste of your super genes. So he said that as long as you are willing to join them in the sun, she can guarantee that you will become a god, and she will have all the supplies. So what do you think about this? Qilin finished talking about things in one breath, and then stared at Zhao Fei, looking at the choice of this stinky brother. Then, Sister Qilin, do you want me to go to another civilization? Zhao Fei asked Qilin with a smile that seemed to be a smile but not a smile, and asked Qilin in a playful tone. In fact, Zhao Fei didn't expect Rina to be so naive. This time her vision was so good, and she dared to pack a ticket to even become a god in order to attract herself. And since Qilin will ask herself about this kind of thing, it shows that the other party is really sincere. It's just that for Rina, Zhao Fei can only say sorry. After all, he really doesn't need to join any civilization or anything like that. God himself is now there, so this solicitation is destined to be fruitless. After Qilin heard Zhao Fei's visit, a tangled look appeared on her face, and then she said hesitantly, According to my personal wishes, I don't want you to go. After all, you're from Earth, and I know you don't like those people very much, but I don't want you to lose that identity by joining someone else. Of course, if you have worked hard to make a career on your own, I will support this with both hands. It's just that realistically speaking, if you really can't grow much on Earth, then even if you add it, it's not unacceptable. After Zhao Fei heard Qilin's words, a smile inadvertently appeared between the corners of his mouth, because he knew very well that the other party's temperament could make her regress and allow herself to run away to other civilizations, which was enough to show that he sincerely hoped that he could get better. Don't worry, Sister Qilin, I won't join them in the sun. It's definitely impossible to get rich. Your future husband and my goal is the Sea of Stars. How can you give up a forest for a small tree? Don't worry, when I work hard to make a career in the future, the position of the queen will definitely be yours. Zhao Fei looked at Qilin, whose face was tangled, and did not continue to tease him, but instead said his ideals. But why did it sound weird? And Qilin also heard his words in the first half, but after listening to the second half of the words, she can't wait to strangle this guy now. The front sounds quite ambitious, but in the back, what gave up a forest for a small tree, and said that he would make himself a queen, wouldn't he want to be the emperor and take a harem beauty for 3,000? Thinking of this, the more he thought about it, the more angry he became, and he directly raised his long legs and stepped on Zhao Fei's feet with one foot. After glancing at Zhao Fei angrily, he turned to leave, and said in his mouth, Scumbag, go to your spring and autumn dreams, you still want to be the emperor, you are daydreaming. Zhao Fei looked at Qilin, who was far away and didn't chase after her, but shrugged her shoulders and chose to return to her bedroom. After all, I actually said this on purpose, in order to give the other party a preventive shot. Give him some time to develop, and he is definitely capable of finding a civilization to reign supreme. And his target is the 3 kings of angels. Rather than being discovered by the other party in the later stage of this matter, it is better to take a preventive shot in advance. After Zhao Fei returned to the room, he lay on the bed, picked up his mobile phone and started playing games. After all, he had nothing to do now. On the other side, Qilin went back to the bedroom directly after being angry with Zhao Fei, but his expression was not very good at the moment, because she could see that the stinky brother's words just now were not bluffed again, but were serious. In other words, that guy really plans to go to a place to be an emperor or something, and then open a harem. It used to be an era of peace, and there was no way for this little color batch, but now Qilin is also aware of the coming of war. The times have changed, and this thing seems to be really capable of opening a harem, so this matter is estimated to be inseparable. This made her, who had been taught monogamy since she was a child, unable to accept it for a while, so she ran back so angrily. Qilin, who returned to the dormitory, lay directly on the bed under the surprised gaze of the women, pressed her face against the pillow, and for a moment the whole person exuded a black aura. At this moment, even Rena, who was very arrogant, didn't know what to do. After all, they saw that Qilin was happy to go out, but now they came back with a black aura, so although they were very interested in what Qilin had experienced, they couldn't wait to gossip. But now the atmosphere gives them a feeling that they don't know what to do. After all, they don't want to be the first to be bombed. It's just that this kind of atmosphere is the same, and Rena really can't stand it. Took out the momentum of being the head of the eldest sister, walked up to Qilin, patted him on the shoulder, and said, "I said, what happened to my sister? Why don't you tell me and let's find a way to solve it for you? That's it, haven't you heard of what it means to be three stinkers, one zhuge liang?" Rose spoke at this point. After Qilin heard her roommate's words, she got up from the bed and said with a sullen face, "You can't solve this problem. That little bastard is actually planning to open a harem. I'll go, such scum." Rose's impression of Zhao Fei plummeted instantly after hearing Qilin's words. She originally thought that he could fight, and it was different from Ge Xiaoluan's group of little dicks, but now she feels that men are really all the way. Some strength just wants to pick up girls. And Rena was also speechless when she heard Qilin's words, so that's it. After all, Lian allows 3 wives and 4 concubines, so Rena is used to these things. But seeing that Qilin is worried about this matter, she said that she doesn't understand it at all. "I said, Qilin, what's the big deal? There are many powerful people, a few wives and the like, and it's not a rare thing in the universe. Not to mention a future male god. The current situation in the universe is that there are many goddesses, but high-quality male gods are really scarce. So let's look at these things." When Rose heard Rena's words, she suddenly felt that her 3 views had been challenged. Speak in an uncertain tone. Are civilizations beyond Earth playing so lavishly? Rena looked at Rose with an incredulous look on her face and patiently explained to her. It's not a question of spending or not, but the laws of the universe have always been like this. If you're strong enough, and you raise a bunch of little white faces, no one in the whole universe will say anything about you. Rose suddenly felt that the Earth was very good, at least there were not so many strange 3 views. And after Qilin heard it, the black gas on her body became even stronger. After all, she couldn't imagine that the outside was so open, so according to the Stinky Brothers' temperament, the matter of opening a harem would definitely not be able to run. So what should I do myself, online, etc. extreme? Qilin thinks that she can still rescue it, and see if the one who opened the harem is not an exception. Sister Na, are all those male gods in the universe like this? Rena looked at Qilin with a look of hope, and although she wanted to tell her that this was an example, the reality was not. I'm sorry, Qilin, although I also want to nod and agree with your words, but in fact, those male gods, except for a few for various reasons, have no shortage of partners around them. It's really not like Rena is talking nonsense, she won't talk about it. How can a god who is basically a master of civilization not have a few mates, except for Karl Sticks? After all, it's a pervert. When Qilin heard Rena's affirmative answer, her eyes lost light. Lowering his head, the whole person opened his mouth as if he was decadent. Leave me alone, let me be quiet. Then he picked up the pillow and sat on the bed with his legs crossed, and began to think about life. And when her roommate saw Qilin's appearance, she had no choice but to shrug her shoulders, and then went to do her own thing. After all, it was someone else's family matter, and it was difficult for outsiders to interfere, let alone a problem between the 2 of them. However, they probably guessed that the final result would end with Qilin's regression. Rose secretly scolded Zhao Fei in her heart, a big scumbag. But Rena was thinking in her heart that Zhao Fei likes beautiful women and wants to open a harem, or should she let her good sister cover Wu Zhao and come on a blind date? Although this product seems to be a little scum, it is also a high-quality male god. And Ray Meng Meng, the little white rabbit, has never opened her mouth since. After all, feelings are too strange to her, and she doesn't understand them at all. and Qilin herself maintained this position before turning off the light and going to bed, motionless, and didn't even go to dinner. At that time, Zhao Fei didn't know that his thoughts had caused Qilin to be so impacted, but instead played games for a day, and only went to bed after brushing Su Xiaoxi's live broadcast room before going to bed. I have to say that I want to think about the future because I saw the power of super soldiers today, or other personal things. Zhao Fei can say that he slept very peacefully. After all, his strength is barely able to protect himself now, and he knows the development of the plot, so he is not like those guys at all, and he is full of confusion about the future. The next morning, the first thing Zhao Fei did after opening his eyes was to sign in. Ding! Congratulations to the host for getting 100 million RMB. The system has transferred it to the host's account. Although Zhao Fei didn't have any desire for money, he didn't expect that. He just woke up, and after silently signing in, he easily obtained a small goal. Okay, although it doesn't work much, it's better than signing in, out of tissues and other things. After all, this thing is a big hit in the daily world, and it's impossible to bring out good things every day. After signing in, I didn't get up to wash up as soon as possible, but closed my eyes again, and entered the virtual battle space silently in my heart. For Zhao Fei, this place must be entered every day. After all, it is most direct for him to improve his actual combat ability. Sure enough, when Zhao Fei came in, he saw the image of He Shi wearing armor again. This time, Zhao Fei didn't talk nonsense with the other party, and rushed over after taking a sword directly. After an hour of persistent slashing, Zhao Fei's face fell to the ground with a sense of relief. When Zhao Fei woke up, he covered his neck for the first time, and a large amount of cold sweat broke out on his forehead. When he calmed down, he couldn't help but curse in his heart, and sure enough, the feeling of death was not comfortable at all, and after a while, the name of Karl's Grim Reaper was probably given to him. Zhao Fei saw that he was sweating, and his whole body was sticky, so he went to wash the set of angel pajamas on his body as soon as possible. Immediately afterwards, I took a comfortable shower, humming a little song while taking a bath. He felt that he had made a lot of progress today, and he was finally able to force out He Shi's second sword. Who can understand the sadness in this, being hacked to death countless times in 2 hours, again and again, absorbing the experience of his own failure? At the end of the guidance, he forced out He Shi's second move. Because he believes that these AIs won't release water, this is a real progress. If this continues, will the day when this Pai Pishi be suppressed? When Zhao Fei finished washing, he came to the training ground slowly. After all, he was just a nominal person, and there was no need to train at all. And it's not that he said that the training methods of the male soldiers really didn't make him know how to evaluate them. A bunch of super soldiers, running all day long, swimming, etc. Are you sure you're not kidding him? And if you are going to go to war in the future, it is better to find some death row prisoners and the like, so that they can practice their hands. But these things are not decided by him. Anyway, now he is an outsider, silently watching. When Zhao Fei came to the destination, everyone's eyes focused on Zhao Fei's body, and there were many puzzled glances. Why could he be so leisurely? Zhao Fei didn't care about these glances, but greeted everyone with a smile. Good morning. And Rina, who was facing everyone, turned around and said with a white glance, Go, you don't even look at what time it is, it's good morning. It's none of your business here, just stay. Sister Na, why doesn't Fei go train with us? Ge Xiaoluan asked curiously. This thing is not from the male soldier company, they are just here in the Super Divine Academy. And you have the strength of others, you don't need to train. Rina replied angrily to Ge Xiaoluan's question. Then he looked at everyone and said loudly, You're still a bunch of rookies, don't think about those who I don't. Concentrate on training is what you need to do now. Then Rina waved her hand, and a set of black armor appeared on everyone's body. Those who had not experienced the black armor yesterday felt very magical and couldn't help but sigh. After all, this thing looks quite heavy, but it doesn't actually weigh as much as you might think. And Zhao Fei looked at the black armor on Qilin's body. His eyes showed dissatisfaction. He felt that there was a problem when he watched the anime before, But now he went in to see that this thing could really withstand the attack. Everyone else is thick, but this set of Qilin is as thin as paper. It seems that this group of guys from the Super Divine Academy thinks that Qilin's genes have no potential, so I don't pay attention to it, and plan to get a random set of equipment to send her. It seems that this situation still depends on him, Qilin's equipment. See if there is a chance to get her a set yourself. Thinking of the equipment, Zhao Fei suddenly remembered that there seemed to be a silver blade on the earth. I didn't go again, I snatched that thing, and Su Marie was down, but she was also Hua Ye's #1 general, and there should be something on her body that Qilin used, and Qilin was in trouble when someone entered the station as a sniper, and there was a silver blade that could solve the other party by surprise. It's just that he attacked him, and he had to play this name of eliminating harm for the people, and the ghost knows what the real situation of Hushi's old goblin and that Shimale is like. In case there is a little lingering affection or something, and you slaughter the other party for no reason, wouldn't you be liquidated? The angels don't like to use the name of justice the most, they can also learn from it, and kill each other in the name of eliminating harm for the earth. As for the rest, then it's their own loot. Well, it's a good decision, let's go and slaughter each other in these 2 days. This is to eliminate harm for the people, and it is definitely not for the other party's silver blade. Let's just say that when Zhao Fei brainwashed herself, Rina had already sent these people to run, sat down in front of Zhao Fei and said, "I'm a handsome guy, you don't train, you don't join, what do you want to do here?" Rina was also curious. It stands to reason that this thing doesn't join the male soldier company, so now it should be fooling around somewhere else. How can she come to the training ground? It's nothing, it's a pure accident to make a soy sauce. After all, I'm bored right now, and I have nothing to do. Zhao Fei didn't plan to do any conspiracy or anything like that, so he didn't have anything to hide from Rina's question. Rina said after hearing that Zhao Fei had nothing to do because he was bored. "Since you're so boring, why don't you join in and train?" And after Zhao Fei heard the words of the second goddess, his eyes looked at her as if he was looking at a mentally retarded person. And after Rina saw Zhao Fei's eyes looking at him, her whole body exploded, and she said viciously, "What do you mean, boy?" "I said, Rina, their training is nothing more than running, swimming, or anything like that. Does this really work? Can't you change to something a little more scientific?" Rina also had a helpless look on her face when she heard this. "You think I don't want to? I don't carry this pot, you can't provide what you need, so you can only use this most primitive method. After all, it can't be said that it is useless, it can only be said that the effect is not good, and it takes a lot of time." Seeing Rina's helpless look, Zhao Fei didn't continue to talk about this topic. After all, he also knew that this goddess was really powerless. "Rina asked you a question, is this set of black armor on their bodies provided by your burning sun, or is it owned by the Super Divine Academy itself?" Although Rina also felt strange when she heard Zhao Fei's question, why did this guy ask this, she didn't hide her answer. "These black armor materials are all provided by our Liang. After all, the Super Divine Academy is poor now." Zhao Fei pointed to Qilin, who was running, after hearing Rina's words. "Is the black armor on Qilin's body a little lacking?" After hearing Zhao Fei's words, Rina knew that this product was here to ask the master, and hurriedly explained. "I don't know about this matter, after all, the materials have been given enough to the Super Divine Academy, anyway, the black armor on the scene adds up to more than enough. So I don't know about Qilin's situation, after all, Dukao and those people are in charge." Rina directly arched Dukao and these people out, and Zhao Fei nodded after hearing it. After hearing Rina's words, Zhao Fei could be sure that his previous conjecture was correct, but this was fine. If he took Qilin out of the Super Divine Academy, it wouldn't be too much trouble. After all, like this, there is affection between Qilin and the Super Divine Academy, but not much. "I said, didn't you really want to join us in Liang?" Zhao Fei couldn't imagine that this Henan goddess could be so persistent, and want to go to the sun by herself. "Haha, thank you for the kindness of the goddess, but forget it, I prefer to be free." Rina was not disappointed after hearing Zhao Fei's answer. After all, the rejection was also expected. "Well, since you refuse, I won't force the door of our scorching sun to be open for you forever. Well, if I can't get along one day, I will definitely go to the sun to hug the goddess your thigh. I hope you don't dislike it when the time comes," Zhao Fei said in a joking tone. Rena also replied to Zhao Fei's words with a smile. "Am I like that kind of person? As long as you are willing to come to this goddess and have a bite to eat, I will not starve you." On the topic of solicitation in this way, the two skipped it with a smile. After all, these two people belong to the optimist faction, and there will be no such thing as a solicitation that does not turn their faces. After that, Rena followed and ran with the others, but Zhao Fei didn't know where to take out a sun lounger, a parasol, a table with a plate of iced watermelon and a glass of iced Coke. Immediately afterwards, Zhao Fei put on sunglasses, lay on the chair, and watched everyone sweat. But he picked up the iced watermelon and ate it comfortably, and he received countless hateful glances for a while. At the same time, Zhao Fei erected an image of an inappropriate person in the minds of these people. After all, they are training hard here, and Zhao Fei is eating watermelon comfortably there. Who can withstand this feeling of gap? Until noon, Zhao Fei followed everyone to the cafeteria, looking at everyone with a wolf-gobbling appearance. He couldn't help but shake his head, and at this time, Qilin sat down. The expression on his face was as if nothing had happened yesterday. "Stinky brother, did you eat watermelon this morning?" "Well, it's okay, it tastes very good." Zhao Fei didn't seem to hear Qilin's gritted teeth, and opened his mouth in a slumbering voice. "Yes, so can you get out of the way and play in the afternoon?" Qilin heard that Zhao Fei didn't think about his behavior, and then directly asked him to get out. "After all, I am training hard here, while others are eating watermelon and drinking Coke, and no one can withstand this kind of gap." After hearing Qilin's words, Zhao Fei covered his chest with one hand as if he was playing with his upper body, and a sad expression appeared on his face. Since you dislike me so much, then I'll just go, scumbag." Qilin looked at Zhao Fei, who was suddenly like a nerve, and covered his forehead helplessly, and said in a helpless tone, Okay, don't make a fuss, please be a person." Okay, I'll go somewhere else this afternoon." Seeing Qilin's appearance of collapse, Zhao Fei didn't tease her anymore. After all, he knew very well that the other party was a little unaccustomed to training on the first day, so he would wait until she got used to it. In this way, when Zhao Fei felt bored after eating and had nothing to do, he came to the library, intending to see if there were any suitable books. When he came here, Zhao Fei had to sigh that it was really big, and the huge library was lined with rows and rows of bookshelves, which were full of books. When Zhao Fei walked in, he walked around, rest assured, this library contains books on astronomy and geography, military, science, history, and so on. It's just that there seems to be no use of dark energy, or anything like that, and there is no knowledge related to the universe. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but shake my head in disappointment. It seems that these things are confidential, and they won't be placed in the library so casually. If you want to expand this kind of thing, do you really have to go to those people from the Super Divine Academy? Other than that, I don't seem to have any way. When Zhao Fei was bored and had nothing to do, he chose to go back to the room, holding Angel Yan's humanoid pillow and rolling on the bed. Should he go to the people from the Super Divine Academy to ask for knowledge, or find Rena? Zhao Fei, who was holding the pillow of Angel Yan, suddenly thought of something, and directly burst into a foul mouth. Then he buried his head in the pillow, feeling that he was so stupid. Why didn't he look for Yan? There is also this girl, she still owes herself a set of armor for Qilin. If she didn't suddenly remember it, she would have forgotten about it. Before, I was stupid to help Qilin get a set of armor, which was a waste of feelings. Thinking of this, Zhao Fei immediately got up from the bed, trying to find Angel Yan, but suddenly found that the girl ran away quickly after taking her own blood, and she didn't even leave a single communication. This is back to Zhao Fei's worries, how to find the other party. When Zhao Fei was worried, he suddenly thought that there seemed to be a little angel on the earth here, as if the angel with a big back was chasing after this part, and now the other party may be on the earth. It's just that where to dig it out is another big question. It's a pity that I don't have a celestial computer, otherwise I would have directly come to a wave of global searches. Just like when Queen Kaisha first came to Earth, she sat on the throne and collected all the information at once, which was full of words. System SOS. I need your help. This system is a check-in and task system, not a tracing system. Ding! Friendly reminder to the host, the person you are looking for is not on Earth right now. Zhao Fei also felt helpless after hearing the system's words. Why can't he find people everywhere? It seems that he has to find another way. Originally wanted to let Sumeri live a few more days, but now it seems that the plan is sick, so I will go and slaughter it now. And by the way, see if the other party still has any communication from Hashi. Although I personally don't want to contact that Pipishi now, but for the sake of knowledge and convenient communication in the future, it's okay to try it. After all, I haven't done anything bad, and the other party can't come to him for trouble. After doing some psychological construction for himself, Zhao Fei planned to set off, but contacted Qilin before leaving. Sister, I'm going to go abroad for a few days. Don't miss me too much during this time. After finishing speaking, he hung up the communication directly, not giving Qilin a chance to react. Directly spread the starlight wings and flew away from the Super Divine Academy, but his action was discovered by Dukeo and others on the Great Gorge. General, Zhao Fei has just left the Super Divine Academy, and his destination is unknown. Dukeo is selling batches from his mother at the moment. Can't this guy settle down a little? Dukeo rubbed his acupoint with his thumb and said to the wind, keeping track of his location, I want to see what he wants to do. Yes, General. After a while, Mercy spoke in a tone of disbelief. I guess he wants to go abroad. At his current pace, he'll be in North America in a little while. Why is this unscientific so fast? Lian Feng couldn't have imagined that Zhao Fei's speed would be so fast. How long had it been since he went from the Super Divine Academy to North America? You can't even reach this speed of a rocket. How did he get this physical body? Even an angel couldn't have this kind of speed here, and the more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. What kind of genes is this guy? Is it purely based on speed? But it is also impossible. Like Zhao Xian's virtue spear is named after speed. And this guy has shown more than just speed. As we all know, all super genes have their own strengths, and there will also be some shortcomings, which can't be said to be shortcomings, but they are not good at. Think of the galactic power has anti-void and anti-air capabilities, but lacks the means and speed to attack from a distance. Sunlight, because of its star power, is good at ranged attacks, and has a wide area of damage, but it is weaker than the enemy's score. There is nothing more to say about the God of War. People are, as their name suggests, invincible in close combat, and have no means of air and range. Not to mention the space-time rose, although the space-time wormhole and space technology play elusively, but I don't hurt it. As a designer who participated in the 3 god-making projects, she already felt unscientific after seeing Zhao Fei show so many abilities. And now this guy is faster than the angel's space-time wings even in terms of speed. This shocked her 3 views. After all, she had never seen such a perfect gene in this universe. Thinking of this, she clenched her fist and hammered directly on the control panel in front of her, and exploded. Damn, what the hell is this guy? The combination of various abilities and conditions is not scientific at all. Now she can't wait to catch Zhao Fei back, put it on the experimental table, study it well, and satisfy his curiosity. Calm down, merciful. Dutsao saw that the mercy at this moment was completely lost from his previous calmness, and his eyes were full of madness. There is no doubt that if Zhao Fei was in front of her at the moment, the other party would not hesitate to throw him on the experimental table. After all, he has worked with Lianfeng for so many years, and it is the first time he has seen the other party's expression, so he didn't dare to speak too loudly when he persuaded the other party just now, for fear of being cut by Lianfeng in this state. Sister Lianfeng, don't get excited, the most important thing now is that one. After hearing Qinyu's words, Lianfeng took a deep breath to calm himself down, and then began to operate the panel in front of him. General, now we can confirm that the other party is in North America, but at this moment, he has stopped flying. It's just that I don't know what he's going to do. After hearing the report of the wind, Du Cao thought for a moment and spoke. Since the other party has already gone abroad, then it is not our responsibility. As long as you don't show too much movement, let him go. Du Cao's inner thought at this time was that this scourge should simply stay abroad for a longer time, so as not to come back and affect the people of the Super Divine Academy. And at this moment, Zhao Fei came to the sky above the capital of North America, and he found a serious problem. He didn't know where Su Marie was. According to the memory of the anime, the other party seemed to be in this broken place. And life is quite beautiful. Just when Zhao Fei was in trouble, he thought of a word in his heart, and asked the system if he was undecided. After all, I don't have the ability to search, and even if I do, I haven't developed myself into a super soldier for a few days. Tongzi, it's time for you to make a difference. Ding! How many times has this system said that I am not a tracing system? Oh, don't worry about the details, after all, you're omnipotent. I don't have a search function, so I'll have to ask you about this. Ding! The host should really be serious about developing your own genes. You can't even find someone with such a powerful gene. The system is served. Zhao Fei froze after hearing the system's complaints. Listening to the system's words, it means that he still has a lot of functions that have not been developed. It seems that when I go back to Huaxia, I have to seriously study this gene. Ding! The search information has been sent to you, and you can go and play by yourself. Immediately after that, Zhao Fei showed in front of him where Su Marie was now, and the other party was moving to see the speed. He should be driving a car. At the same time, according to the information given by the system, I also know where this guy lives now, so go and wait for the rabbit. Thinking of this, he flew directly in the direction where Su Mali lived, and when he came to the sky, he saw the building in front of him. Zhao Fei thought in his heart, these pants seem to be banished. How do you feel that you are here to enjoy? A luxurious manor house with all kinds of flowers and plants, swimming pools and the like. It's just that according to Zhao Fei's detection, there is no one in it, and it seems that this guy didn't hire a maid or anything like that. Zhao Fei was also unceremonious, flew in directly, opened the door in an instant, and when he came in, he couldn't help but sigh that the inside was more luxurious than the outside. There is a wine wall in the living room of Dang Dang, which is filled with all kinds of good wines, not to mention all kinds of antique paintings, and even the piano is limited. Extravagant, too extravagant. It seems that he can make a windfall again when he leaves, and it seems that he must subdue the other party in an instant, so as not to destroy the environment here. After all the things here were shot, Zhao Fei estimated that there were several small targets. This time, Zhao Fei was not polite. As if he was returning to his own home, he took out a bottle of red wine and poured it into a crystal cup that looked very high-end, shook it a few times, took a sip, and sighed in his heart, this thing is really not used to drinking, and those rich people are not used to it. Immediately afterwards, Zhao Fei sat in the living room and silently waited for the other party to come back, waiting for the rabbit. Before I knew it, it was already dark, but this Su Marie hadn't come back yet. Could it be that this thing was going to be out there tonight? Zhao Fei, who was really a little impatient, was thinking about whether to go out directly and let him kill him, the reason why he didn't kill the other party as soon as possible, but waited for him to come back here. Didn't he just want to solve the matter in a low-key manner? After all, it is not rational to cause any disturbance at such a time. Let's take a look at where this thing is now. Thinking of this, Zhao Fei directly opened the other party's positioning, and found that he was approaching here. It is estimated that he will be home in a few minutes, and Zhao Fei thought of this, and a sinister smile appeared on his face. He waved his hand first, put away the things in front of him, then looked at the door, found that there was no trace, and after staying, he put on his armor and put the weapon in his hand, and when Su Marie entered the door, he subdued him and gave him a big surprise. And at the moment Su Marie, who was driving a sports car, did not know what would happen when she returned home. At this time, he was reminiscing about the chick he met today, and sighed while driving. I got a few chicks today, and I'm really smart, but it's a pity that it's not comparable to that group of female angels. It would be nice to have a chance to revisit it sometime. When I drove home while crooked, I didn't notice anything unusual. When he opened the door, he saw a figure appear, and his heart was suddenly startled in front of him. It's just that years of fighting have made him develop a nerve reflex, and he immediately plans to take out the silver blade to fight back. It's just that this thought just flashed through his mind, but his body didn't have time to respond, and he felt his arms being crossed, and then a pain welled up in his heart, making him kneel directly on the ground, screaming in pain. It's just that the place where he lives now is relatively remote. As a result, no matter how loud he shouted, no one heard him. After a while, feeling accustomed to the pain, he raised his head, intending to see which of his enemies it was. When he raised his head, a young figure appeared in his eyes, looking like someone from Huaxia's side, and at the same time, his heart was full of doubts. He didn't remember that he had such an enemy. Although there is an element of sneak attack, it is impossible for a person with this strength to be impressed by the fact that he can cut off his arms in an instant. Sumeri was sweating profusely, and she held back the pain and said to Zhao Fei, "Dare to ask why Your Excellency attacked me? I don't think I have much contact with Your Excellency." And Zhao Fei has been standing there watching and admiring the wail of this product since he swung out the two swords. I don't know why Zhao Fei saw the face of this product. He had an urge to smash his face. This kind of sissy shape, no matter how you look at it, it feels very unpleasant. And after hearing Sumeri's question, Zhao Fei replied with a playful smile on his face. "We haven't really met each other, so let's say it's the first time I've seen you. As for why I attacked you, the main reason is that some things came to you, and I was afraid that you would resist. After all, I had heard of your name as the ancient god of slaughter, so in order to cause other trouble, I had to teach you to subdue it first." After Sumeri heard Zhao Fei's words, 10,000 alpacas galloped in her heart. He felt that he had lived for so many years, and it was the first time he had seen someone like Zhao Fei, and something came to him. "So I cut off my hands first, so as not to have any accidents? Is this person sick? If you have something to do with me, don't you just show your strength? Why do you do it so directly? It's just too much of a bully for an angel." It's just that Sumeri didn't dare to say these words. After all, her current life is in the hands of the other party. I had to squeeze out a smile on my face that was more ugly than crying, and said to Zhao Fei, "Then what is the matter with me? Su will definitely do it for you." Zhao Fei looked at Sumeri, who was kneeling on the ground, and couldn't help but glance at him. This thing really deserves to be the #1 general under Hua Yi, and in the face of the situation that should be cowardly, he is really cowardly to death. The expression on his face can be said to be very sincere, if it weren't for the current situation, and knowing that his personality would really deceive him. "It's not a big deal, it's just that I heard that you have a communication from Hashi, and I came to ask for one. After all, I have something to find and those female angels have no way, so I have to come to you." Zhao Fei said his appeal in a flat tone, and after Sumeri heard it, she secretly scolded her mother in her heart for selling criticism. "That's it, just a communication, why cut off your own hand? This guy definitely has a hole in his brain." Although he wanted to scold people, his explosive desire to survive made him smile on his face, and said to Zhao Fei, "That great God, although I have her communication, it was only a long time ago, and I'm not sure if that channel will work. After all, it was many years ago." Sumeri was like pouring beans, saying all the words in one go, for fear that Zhao Fei would misunderstand. Okay, you send it to me directly, I'll know if I try." After hearing this, Sumeri no longer hesitated, and directly sent Hashi's communication to Zhao Fei. After Zhao Fei received the communication, he began to contact Hashi, and when the communication came, he found that it could be used, but the other party had not answered. Just when Zhao Fei was waiting for the other side to answer, Sumeri, who was kneeling on the ground, didn't know when she secretly opened a small wormhole behind Zhao Fei, and a dagger with a cold light appeared in the wormhole. And after he saw that Zhao Fei didn't realize his small movements, he was excited in his heart to think about dying, and he dared to attack me. Immediately afterwards, the dagger flew out of the wormhole and went straight to Zhao Fei's heart. Just as the dagger was approaching Zhao Fei's armor, a happy smile appeared on Sumeri's face. Because his silver blade is made of dark silver, he can easily cut through the divine body, although the armor worn by this guy in front of him is a bit like the king armor, but it is impossible to block the cutting of the silver. It's just that what happened next made his jaw almost drop in shock, only to see that the dagger was directly bounced off after touching Zhao Fei's armor, and there was not even a white spot left on the armor, as if it had not been scraped by something at all. And Zhao Fei glanced at Sumeri, who was kneeling on the ground in front of him, and sighed in his heart that this male angel was really cunning, not honest at all, and he wanted to sneak attack me all day long. And when Sumeri saw Zhao Fei staring at him, she suddenly panicked and thought about quibbling. It's just that Zhao Fei won't give him this opportunity, and directly wiped the sword in his hand to his neck, so that his head and body were directly separated. And at this moment Sumeri still had a frightened expression on her face. Zhao Fei looked at Sumeri, whose body was separated, and couldn't help but shake his head and sighed. Why bother? I'm going to kill you later, wouldn't it be good to live a little longer? Oh, people nowadays, I really don't know how to cherish life. It is estimated that after Sumeri heard Zhao Fei's words, she would die without turning a blind eye, and she couldn't imagine that this guy would insult him even after his death. Although it's pretty much the same now. Just as Zhao Fei sighed, the communication was connected, and a majestic voice rang out. Who are you? Why is there this correspondence from this king? He on the other side was a little stunned at this time. After all, she hadn't used this communication channel for tens of thousands of years, and suddenly someone called to find her, which made her feel very surprised. At the same time, Sumeri, who had been exiled by her to the Red-Black Star, also appeared to have been killed. Scumbags like Sumeri have been monitored by them all the time, so they will all receive news after the other party's death. So He has a guess in his heart that the person who is calling him now is the one who killed Sumeri. And Zhao Fei on the other side was a little worried after hearing Hishi's voice. After all, this voice was a little majestic, and he didn't feel very easy to get along with. Well, Pipsqueak, no, hello to the king of the skybase, I took the liberty of bothering you. It's just an ordinary super soldier. As for why there is such a communication with you, it all starts with me finding a male angel. Long story short, don't talk nonsense. Hishi didn't bother to listen to this guy's nonsense at the moment, and directly asked him to say the point, and at the same time, she heard it right just now, this guy seems to have a bad name for her, Pippi or something. I'm going, is it so direct? It's not hesitant at all. Ahem, then I'll make a long story short, I originally wanted to find Angel Yen, but I found that there was no communication from the other party, and I happened to know that there was such a male angel on the earth, so I tried to find him to see if there was any other angel communication. As a result, that guy tried to sneak attack me while I wasn't looking, and I killed him. By the way, before he died, he shouted that dear Hishi was about to avenge me. Is he your man? After hearing Zhao Fei's words, Hishi, who was on the other plate, couldn't help but crush a teacup. After she heard that the other party was looking for Angel Yen, she knew who this thing was. It was that one. Why did she play with their guy with a drop of blood? In Hishi's eyes, Zhao Fei deliberately tricked them. After all, they originally wanted to test after taking a drop of Zhao Fei's blood, but it turned out that it was ordinary people's blood. As a result, Angel Yanxiang swore that the blood was squeezed out of Zhao Fei's body, so he could be sure that there was something wrong with Zhao Fei's product, or that his blood would become ordinary blood after leaving his body. And now this guy even dares to use her as a brush. I don't know where to hear some rumors of chasing the wind and shadows, and then say it like adding oil and vinegar now. She knew very well that Sumeri would not say these words. After all, her name as the king of Tianji also appeared after the other party was exiled. Didn't this guy treat her as a fool? And even if Sumeri has a last word, she will say that Hua Ye's guy avenged him, and what is the matter with him? Then aren't you afraid that I'll kill you? She spoke in a threatening tone. Ahem, so you admit that you are her lover? Zhao Fei knew very well that he was trying to say this on the verge of death, but in order to arouse Hexi's interest, he had to do so, just die. Fuck off, who's that guy's lover? In Hexi's opinion, Zhao Fei's words undoubtedly killed her. After all, if she said it, she estimated that she would have nightmares when she slept at night. And she always felt that this guy was very familiar with the history of their angel civilization, and from the fact that he dared to use Angel Yen to brush it, she knew that the other party knew a lot about the rules of angels, not to mention that he dared to joke with Su Marie about it like now. This thing knew some gossip 9 times out of 10. In this way, Hexi is becoming more and more interested in Zhao Fei, obviously just a 20-year-old little guy, with mysterious super genes, and he knows a lot about angels. All kinds of signs add up, so that Hexi is full of interest in Zhao Fei, and he can't wait to dissect the other party. And Zhao Fei also knew that the other party was really crazy this time after Hexi's roar, so he decided not to continue, otherwise he would be able to see the other party's deity kill him in 2 days and take him to be autopsied. He knows very well that Hexi, a scientific research person, is very interested in everything on him, and when the doppelganger comes he can still harvest a doll, but when the deity comes, he can directly hit GG. Zhao Fei is very clear about his current positioning. I am invincible under the 3 generations, and the 3 generations with the celestial computer can still run by myself, facing a big guy with a celestial computer plus 4 generations. You can just dig a pit and bury yourself. Well, I'm just joking and livening up the atmosphere. Don't worry about it. After Hexi on the other side heard Zhao Fei's words, the whole angel was laughed at angrily. After this kid finished teasing himself, he said that it was a joke, so that he didn't care, and he didn't ask who Hexi could afford to lose. Little ghost, if you don't give me an explanation, then you wait for me, and I'll go to you in 2 days. If you have the ability to beat me, I won't say that to you. After hearing Hexi's words, Zhao Fei's face froze, because he couldn't imagine that this Pai Pishi couldn't afford to play so much, but he had to engage in offline realism, which was the so-called rhythm of beating people along the network cable. Then what, Tianji King? Tell me what you want. If I can, I'll do my best to satisfy you. Zhao Fei also knew that this old goblin bit himself like this, just to know what his genes were. The main thing is to blame herself for teasing her in this way, and she found a chance to eat it, because Zhao Fei knew very well that the other party was not angry, but it was just to achieve the goal. At the same time, in his heart, he despised the other party. This old goblin is really shameless, and he actually plans to threaten himself with bullying the small. This kind of young man does not talk about martial arts. On the other side, Hexi's eyes suddenly lit up after hearing Zhao Fei's helpless words. She didn't care about those gossips at all. After all, they were tens of thousands of years old, and it was impossible to deal with a little kid who didn't even have a fraction of herself at this age. Immediately, his tone changed, and he said to Zhao Fei on the side of the communication, "That's what you said, I didn't force you. Okay, just say what you want, as long as you don't go too far, we can talk. Good boy is refreshing enough, then I don't embarrass you. As long as you'll let me study your genes a little. Don't worry, I won't leave a secret door on your genes like the group of people from the Super Divine Academy. I just want a rough data. Don't you want a guardian angel?" Hexi is a smart person, and he knows very well how to deal with people like Zhao Fei. After all, a drop of blood from the other party before really made them nothing, and at that time he knew that this guy was very cautious. And they only needed his data, and they didn't think about anything to him, so they could just spread it out. So Hexi chose to spread out the words first, and then tempted Zhao Fei with the matter of the guardian angel, because in her opinion, the other party's 20-year-old little hairy child was the age of the Bloody Fawn Gang, so the big killer of the technical guardian angel was not allowed to be easily handled. After Zhao Fei heard Hexi's words, he didn't speak immediately, but asked his own system. "System, if I only share my own data, what will happen?" Ding! No, just sharing doesn't give the other party a chance to invade. Anyway, do I match their angels well? In fact, Zhao Fei is also quite curious. How is the match between himself and the angel? If he comes to a less than 50%, he won't be able to get anything, After all, the angel values the matching result the most. Ding, please rest assured, their angel matches the conditions of the host genes are perfectly matched, and may even be higher than they imagined. After Zhao Fei heard the system's answer, he breathed a sigh of relief in his heart, and said to He on the other side, "Yes, I'm sharing my information with you now." After finishing speaking, he directly sent his message to He, and He took a look at it after receiving it, and immediately took a breath of cold air. I thought to myself what kind of demon and monster this was. How did it feel a little like pee going up? The 3 major cause projects are known as the strongest genes in the universe in the future, and as a result, these projects are directly thrown away. Then He said to Zhao Fei, "I'll hang up the newsletter first, and I'll contact you later." Immediately after that, he didn't give Zhao Fei a chance to refute, and hung up the communication directly. Zhao Fei didn't know what to say about He's operation. If he didn't know what their angels were, they would have thought that the other party was going to run away with a bucket. Zhao Fei, who felt that he had nothing to do at this moment, put away all the things on Sumeri's body, especially the silver blade, and gave it to Qilin to use. It's just a pity that Zhao Fei didn't have time to rob this guy, and the resources he had saved over the years were hung up, otherwise he would be able to make a small fortune. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but kick Sumeri's corpse a few more times, and then raise the other party's corpse, so as not to cause any unnecessary trouble. Immediately afterwards, Zhao Fei started his own journey of scraping, packing and taking away all the valuable things in his house. Just when Zhao Fei was carrying out the bandit uncle, He on the other side immediately contacted Kaisha. When Keisha connects to the communication, He asks her to come to her lair immediately. Keisha, who was originally dealing with this official business, heard the words of the old goblin, and a big question mark appeared in her heart. It's just that after hearing He's excited tone, he put down the matter at hand, opened the wormhole, and came to He. When she came here, she saw He studying something with excitement on her face. "Old goblin, what are you looking for me?" After He heard Kaisha's words, he glanced at the other party, sent a copy of Zhao Fei's data to the other party, and said in his mouth, "Man, why am I so excited? You can see for yourself." And after Kaisha heard He's words, she looked at the things sent by He with a calm and uncertain expression. After reading it, he originally had a calm expression, and his face showed a little shock. "Whose handiwork is this, Chao's seminary or Carl?" "No, they don't have this ability. It's possible that it was left over from before the Kamigawa civilization." Keisha originally thought that someone was doing something behind her back, but after thinking about it, even if they wanted to, they didn't have the ability to do it. "I won't say anything, the star drive technology alone is beyond their understanding." All of a sudden, countless thoughts popped up in Keisha's heart. The power of the galaxy was deduced according to the treasure house of knowledge and was determined by them to be the future chased by angels. But now that a more powerful gene has appeared, then there will be countless variables in the future, which makes Keisha have a heavy feeling in her heart. At this time, she looked at He, who had calmed down at the moment and was slowly drinking tea, and said, "What do you think of that little guy, old goblin?" After hearing Keisha's words, He stretched out a finger and pointed at himself with an innocent face and said, I'll just sit and watch, what else?" Keisha felt a headache when she looked at this Pippi. This guy has been fishing here since the angel civilization stabilized, and now he chooses to put it up when he has a problem with her. Can't he take the initiative and share a little thing for her? "Old goblin, don't make trouble. You should know very well that the appearance of this little guy has caused the future to be full of uncertainties. And how should we angels choose this matter in the future? You must give a suggestion." He looked at Keisha, who had a headache. A gloating smile appeared on his face, and he thought in his heart that he was fortunate to be retired, otherwise he would have a lot of things to worry about. How could he have such a boring life now, drinking tea and doing research? At the same time, He rarely saw Caesar's expression, and decided to add a little material to the other party. "By the way, the man's wife, this information was obtained in exchange for my promise to match the other party with guardian angels, and this matter is handed over to you. Old goblin, you're begging for a beating." After saying this, the cold queen went straight to it. Queen, I tell you not to mess around, and to pay attention to your image. It's not good to be seen by other little angels. After hearing Hishi's words, Kaisha said viciously. Image? There is no one else here, do you need it? After finishing speaking, he gave Hishi some good-looking fights between the two angel queens for a while, and the picture was very beautiful. If someone passes by and sees this scene, it will definitely be a feast for the eyes. One of the Queen Kisha was in a chair as a victor, while the other silver-haired man shrunk into a ball like a loser. Queen Kisha sat on the chair and calmly took a sip of tea, looked at the defeated silver fur in front of her and said, Let's see if you dare to make a casual promise next time. After all, Hishi didn't even discuss with her, so he promised the other party a guardian angel. In case the other party and the little angels are very low, wouldn't that push the angels under his hands into the fire pit? Immediately after that, Queen Kaisha seemed to think of something, and after glancing at Hishi, a thought suddenly popped up in her heart, or if it was not suitable then, marry this silver-hairer, right? After all, they are tens of thousands of years old, and they are still single. It's time to find a home, and the super-genetic potential of that guy will reach the level of 4 generations at worst. So find one for this silver retriever. This kind of boy shouldn't wrong her. The more Kisha thinks about it, the more she thinks it works. And after Pai Pishi felt the eyes of this man's mother-in-law, the whole angel suddenly became hairy, and said in a slightly frightened tone, Man, what do you mean by these eyes? What do you want to do? After hearing Hishi's words, Kaisha did not answer positively, but spoke. Since you promised to match each other with a guardian angel, let's pair him now and see how it turns out. When Hishi heard this, he immediately cheered up and began to operate. After all, he was also curious. What would be the match between a super gene owner like him and the little angels? Will it exceed 70%? After the appearance of their angel matching system, the highest so far is that the Galaxy Power and Angel Yin have a 70% match, and her apprentice Burning Heart and the Galaxy's Vice General Dexing Spear also have more than 65%. So the two queens matched it with curiosity about the Lord of the Stars. When all the data was entered, the matching results made the two queens' eyes widen in shock. Angel Kisha, 100%. Angel Hishi, 100%. Angel Cool Ice, 100%. Angel Hiko, 100%. Angel Burning, 99.95%. Angel Cold, 99.94%. Angel Chase, 99.92%. Angel Kayla, 99.81%. Angel Spirit Creek, 99.74%. Rows and rows of matching data, except for one Angel Ronin -0%, none of the angels fit each other, less than 95%. Abba. It's not scientific. Hishi began to doubt her life at this moment, and she wondered if this broken treasure house of knowledge was broken and needed to be repaired, causing her to stutter when she spoke. Since the use of the matchmaking system, there has not been more than 80% of the way this guy is here? And the match with her is 100% sure that you are not teasing her? This is not the most outrageous. The most outrageous of the 4 100% objects that appear above: good guys, a former angel king, 2 present angel kings, and a future angel king. As long as the relationship is an angel king, he can be 100% with the other party. And Hishi seriously doubts that this guy has done something to his matching mechanism? As for running, it may have been an accident. If Zhao Fei knew about his match, he would definitely give a thumbs up and exclude running, which is a good thing. And at this time, although Kaisha was sitting there drinking tea, but her trembling hands betrayed the uncalm in her heart, because she didn't expect such a big thunder to suddenly appear, not to mention anything else. Even if the power of the galaxy matches her own is more than 40%, she is the king of the gods, and the person who can be worthy of him has not appeared at all, and now one suddenly pops up. So how can she be calm in her heart, and at the same time reflects the strength of Zhao Fei's genes? At this time, the two kings both found that the angel network was fried, and the two sides glanced at each other, and said at the same time, "Something happened." It turned out that when they were matched, They were matched on the public network, which led to the result appearing directly on the Angel network. Countless messages have appeared on the Angel public network at this moment, and they are increasing at a rapid rate. Angel line, I'll go, what's the situation, where did this Lord of the Stars come from? Angel Hiko, that little boy is a 100% match for me, and he's mine. Angel chasing, Sister Yen, I feel like I can too. Angel burning heart, didn't you find out that the Master and the Queen are both 100%, and who is Liang Bing? And when all the angels noticed the burning heart and reacted, Angel Yen didn't say anything, but why should the other party be worthy of their honorable Queen Kaisha and King Tianji? As for Angel Liangbing, they said they hadn't heard of it. The angels of the older generation were silent about these two words, because they knew who they represented. Man, what are you going to do about this? Keisha rubbed her temples and said with a toothache on her face. Now that you know, let him go. And these are the little things, what are we going to do with this guy now? Originally, according to the deduction of the protection of divine knowledge, the power of the galaxy is the future of angels, and his heir Tianzian has a 70% match with the other party. Now a better one has emerged, and if it is still carried out according to the plan that has been set before, then there will definitely be unpredictable losses. Hishi, what do you think we should do? Hishi had recovered from his stuttering state at the moment, put down the cup after taking a sip of tea, and said, What else can I do? Isn't it already clear? Do you still dare to go according to the original plan for the power of the galaxy? According to Hiko's information, the only thing that the little guy really cares about is the little sniper named Kirin and his parents. Like others who didn't come into his heart, he didn't care at all. And according to his experience as a child, he didn't have much affection for the Earthlings themselves. As for the power of the galaxy, although we angels are involved, we have to divide it with Delo and the Super Divine Academy. No matter how we calculate it, we will lose. So I didn't have a choice before, but now I have a better choice, and I still need to think about this problem. It's the best time for us to start before the other side officially joins other forces. Kaisha couldn't help but nod after listening to Hishi's words. After all, what Hishi said was correct. She didn't have a choice before, so she could only invest in the power of the galaxy. And now she has a brighter future, why not seize it? Then I will cancel the match between Hiko and the galactic power, and the angel will give up the galactic power. But we need to get back the previous investment. Hishi agrees with Kaisha's words very much, because he doesn't look down on the villains of the Super Divine Academy and Dino, and his apprentice Xiao Jixin was promised to be married to the Deputy General of the Power of the Galaxy, and as a result, the potential of the other party is only 3 generations of super soldiers, which is completely the lower limit of his own apprentice. Isn't this kind of behavior just taking her Tianji King Hishi as the big boss? If Xiao Jixin really becomes the other party's guardian angel, there are only 2 ways. The first is that the other party dies of old age after 10,000 years, and Xiao Jixin will die alone, and the second is that he spends huge resources to help the other party's super gene upgrade, and also helps him become a god, and the final result is to send a god level to the side of the Galactic Power Super Divine Academy. So now that the power of the galaxy can be replaced, Hishi raised his hands and feet in agreement. In that case, the matter was settled. By the way, your apprentice still owes the little guy that sniper's sister a suit of armor. Hishi took a sip of tea lightly and spoke. Then arrange for Yen to send her over, let her set off immediately, and let the 2 of them get along well by the way. When Queen Keisha had just finished speaking, she seemed to think of something, and asked, By the way, Yen shouldn't be planning to get a set of ordinary equipment to send the other party away, right? This time, Hishi also felt that the rain fell. After all, she only heard Yen mention this matter, so he really didn't know how Angel Yen planned to do this. In order to avoid embarrassment, Hishi said a word. This is your apprentice, why are you asking me? After hearing this, Kaisha probably understood that Yen should have planned to perfunctory the other party. After all, the little guy had only played Yen once. Thinking of this, he asked Hishi, Do you have any armor for the other party? Queen Kaisha knew that after the other party cooperated with Liang, she didn't have to guess that the Super Divine Academy arranged for the other party should be the one with black armor and a dark matter computer. And the little guy chose to trade with Yen probably because he was dissatisfied with the equipment on the little sniper. So since he chose to invest in him, there is no need to be perfunctory about this little thing. When Hashi heard this, he opened his small vault and searched inside. I saw that Hashi took out a lot of long-cherished silver weapons, dark alloy armor and the like, and Keisha looked at the equipment in one place, and the corners of her mouth twitched unconsciously. Hashi is in charge of research, and most of the resources are also here in this silver hair. She has reason to suspect that Hashi's net worth is richer than herself. Found it, that's it. Hashi took out a set of black armor, although it looked the same as the previous set of Qilin, which belonged to the close-fitting type, but obviously there were a lot more materials on it. Hashi pointed to this set of armor and said, "Although this set of things doesn't seem to be much, in fact, the defense is definitely much stronger than those black armor of the Super Divine Academy. After all, I added a lot of other rare metals to make it. It's absolutely appropriate for a sniper, and it's black, so it's even more suitable." And Keisha saw it with a puzzled expression on her face, pointed to this set of armor, and asked, "I said, Hashi, what did you want to do with this set of things before?" No matter how Keisha looks at it, she thinks this thing is not suitable for angel warriors, but it is in Hashi's small vault. "Oh, I'm playing with this set of things. I wanted to get a doppelganger of a god-killing sniper, but it turned out that this is too resource-intensive, not cost-effective, and not very powerful, so this set of armor was finished and thrown here to eat ashes." After Keisha heard Hashi's words, she didn't know what to say for a while. This kind of equipment that looks very precious in other civilizations, this old goblin actually played with it. If it wasn't for the need, I don't know how long it would be in the warehouse, and how long it would have been eating ashes. And after Hashi looked at Keisha's eyes as a best friend for tens of thousands of years, he became clear about what the other party was thinking in his heart, and hurriedly said, "You listen to my quibbles, ah? I made this set of equipment completely out of my personal property, but I didn't embezzle half of the resources. All right, you go and talk to that little fellow. I'll arrange for me to come and take the armor and leave for Earth." "Okay, then I'll contact the little one, he's still waiting." After saying this, Hashi contacted Zhao Fei in front of Keisha, and Zhao Fei on the other side chose to pick up in seconds. "Little guy, I've been waiting for a long time, shouldn't I be leveled? Where I've always been very patient with things like waiting for beautiful women. Not to mention a super beauty like you, the king of the sky." "Giggles, little guy, your mouth is quite sweet. I guess you've deceived many little girls." "How is it possible? I haven't dated a girl for so long. If it's the king of TNG, then I'd be happy." "Hee hee. You wanted to beat me, but it's a pity that you're too young. And sister, I don't like people who are weaker than me." "Then I'm stronger than you, don't I have a chance?" "I'll talk about it when you're strong enough, sister. I'm looking forward to the day when your strength surpasses mine." After Zhao Fei heard this, he suddenly felt a thrill, and he had to say that this was said by Hashi, and Zhao Fei felt the temptation across the screen. Hurriedly thought about the CP picture between Gu Xiaoluan and Lu Chuang in his heart, and calmed himself down. "Ahem, let's get down to business." At this time, Zhao Fei didn't need to argue with the other party. What he said just now was completely to test the other party's attitude towards him now. And from the conversation with Hashi just now, the tone of the other party has said everything. Although Hashi was evaluated by netizens as the most skinny angel in his previous life, it also depends on who he is. If the angel is not optimistic about himself, or if he doesn't pay attention to himself, he dares to talk to the other party in this tone, and it is estimated that he would have hung up the communication a long time ago. But now it's different, and there is a seductive tone, which is enough to prove that the other party attaches great importance to himself, and he has already tested the other party's attitude, so the next thing is easy to say. "Haven't I been getting down to business?" At this moment, Zhao Fei planned to lead the topic to his original purpose, but now the other side is still unrelenting. So Zhao Fei made a decision at this time. "Sister, I was wrong. I shouldn't have teased you. Yes, it's just to admit it. After all, most of the initiative is in the hands of the other party now. Let's keep saying this. The ghost knows how long this Pippi can talk to himself. Okay, little boy, for your sake, I'll forgive you this time. Tell me what you want. After Zhao Fei heard the other party's words, he no longer hesitated, and immediately opened his mouth to say his demands. I need God-level knowledge, including the way of fighting, the use of dark energy, and so on. If you don't mind, another divine code. By the way, don't forget the armor that Hiko owes me. When Hishi heard Zhao Fei's words, he was silent at first, because he didn't expect this little guy to be so open-mouthed. The first time I made a request, I almost wanted to rip out their angel's old bottoms. Kid, are you too greedy? It's okay to say that the armor can give you a set that is better than the broken black armor of the Super Divine Academy. And the remaining 2 requirements, God-level knowledge alone, are already the foundation of a civilization. As for the divine code, not to mention, this is the old bottom of our angels. Zhao Fei muttered in his heart after hearing the words of the later stage. In the future, your little apprentice will not blink an eye, so he will give these things to the Super Divine Academy. No, it should be the power of the galaxy. It seems that Xiao Jixin's cute little angel is easy to fool, and an old monster like Hishi who has lived for tens of thousands of years is not easy to do. We're negotiating that now, and it's not a fixed price. Zhao Fei chose to ignore Hishi's disdainful words. I'll tell you that you'd better be practical, you kid had better be practical. You want so many things in one breath, you're not afraid of being strung to death? When Zhao Fei heard Pai Pishi's words, he also knew that it was very difficult for him to become fat in one go. But these things are exactly what he needs, so he still wants to fight for them. Well, I don't want to be like that. The knowledge of super soldiers is useless to me, and I have this thing too. God-level knowledge, I can only think of either obtaining it from your angels, or looking for the Super Divine Academy, or the Burning Sun. Oh, then why don't you try to find them? Hishi said in a meaningful tone. I said, Sister Hishi, it's boring for you to ask this question. Since I came to you angels, it proves that I don't want to have too much to do with these 2 places. I can give you some of the God-level knowledge, and you shouldn't be too little, because this is enough for you to learn. The angel guards have spent hundreds to thousands of years learning. So you're given some of it for you to digest. And what are you doing with this thing of divine code? Hishi is actually quite curious. What is this little guy using the sacred code for? After hearing his words, Zhao Fei had nothing to hide. After all, the other party's IQ didn't have to be guessed at once. I have an anti-void, so I'm going to get a void controller, and I'm missing the divine code. Hishi instantly figured it out after hearing Zhao Fei's words, and at the same time was even more interested in Zhao Fei. After all, this kind of knowledge, no matter how much an earthling could not know, if he really had a civilization inheritance behind him, why didn't there be a relevant knowledge match? Through chatting with Zhao Fei, she discovered one thing. After the other party turned on the super gene, he learned the relevant knowledge of 1 to 3 generations of super soldiers, so that there was no god-level knowledge or other knowledge, and it felt as if he had given a newbie gift package and began to be stocked. If Zhao Fei knew what Hishi was thinking in his heart, he would definitely really break out in a cold sweat, although this is not the case, but it is almost the same. There's no hurry in the matter of the divine code. Even if I give it to you, you won't be able to figure it out. You let me digest the knowledge you gave you first, and after a while, I can help you figure it out. After all, this kind of thing can't be relied on. When Zhao Fei heard his words, a smile appeared on his face, because he knew that things were stable. Thanks to the king of Tianji, the little one has nothing to repay, so he has to make a promise. Go and go, all day long trying to take advantage of me. I will arrange for Hiko to go to Earth, and what you want will be handed over to you at that time, and as for other things, Hiko will explain to you when the time comes. After Hishi said these words, he was about to put the communication on the file, but at this time, Zhao Fei opened his mouth to stop it. Wait, Hishi Beauty, did you forget something? Is there one? Hishi blinked his big eyes, feeling a little confused. When did he forget about things? Ahem, have you forgotten my guardian angel? I'll tell you about it, don't try to fool me. Hishi choked suddenly. He didn't expect Zhao Fei to mention this matter, and suddenly felt that if he hadn't agreed to this and promised him a guardian angel, he wouldn't have used the treasure trove of knowledge to match, and if he didn't match, he wouldn't have caused such a big trouble. Now that she has an extra 100% compatible object for no reason, thinking of this, she feels that if she is accidentally attracted when she meets the other party offline in the future, what should she do? Just when she had a headache, Zhao Fei, who couldn't die, said again, "Could it be that you're my match?" When He heard this, the whole angel immediately exploded, and immediately opened his mouth to deny it. "No, it's not me, don't talk nonsense. You go to Xiaoyanzi for this matter." After finishing speaking, he hung up the communication directly, and then the whole angel took a sip of tea with a weak expression, intending to calm down. And at this time, after seeing Keisha looking at her with a smiling expression from her uncle and aunt, she couldn't help but pat the table, glared at Queen Keisha and said, "What are you looking at? Haven't you ever seen a beautiful woman?" "Tut tut." Keisha shook her head, and said with a stealing expression on her face, "Indeed, I really haven't seen our He beauty look like a little girl who is just starting to fall in love." Keisha thought to herself that this silver retriever had also had this day, wearing pink nail polish all day long, dressed like a young girl, and now retribution had come. "Humph, you're embarrassed to say that I don't forget that the other party is also a 100% match with you." After Keisha heard Heshi's words, her face also changed, and then she returned to normal. "What about 100%? I've been downplaying emotional matters for so many years." Heshi glanced at Keisha disdainfully, thinking in his heart about the man's wife, "You just pretend. I really can't see the change in your expression just now." "Alright, I'll let Hiko come over now." Queen Keisha lost this kind of pippy Heshi's eyes, and directly summoned Yen to come to Heshi. After a while, Angel Hiko appeared in front of the two of them, half kneeling and saluting. "Met Queen Keisha. I've seen the King of Heaven." "Well, get up." Queen Keisha nodded. "Yes, Queen. Come, Kohiko here." After Angel Yen got up, Heshi immediately pulled the other party to the seat, with an inexplicable smile on his face, and said, "Xiaoyanzi, do you know what we called you for?" Angel Yen looked at Hussy's malicious smile, and said stubbornly, "Back to King Tianji, Yen doesn't know." "Oh, don't be nervous, it's a good thing that I won't eat you and call you here. Definitely good news for you." After Angel Yen heard Heshi's words, he suddenly couldn't help but panic in his heart, and at the same time, the whole angel unconsciously shuddered. Just when Heshi wanted to continue to tease Angel Hiko, then Queen Keisha, who was sitting in the C-seat, spoke. "Okay, Heshi, don't tease her. Yen, you bring this suit of armor to the Blue Star to the little male god. And pass on some relevant knowledge to him, and protect him by the way. And the match between you and Galactic Force is cancelled, and the rest is up to you." After Angel Yen heard Queen Keisha's words, he felt dizzy. The first two sentences were fine, and the meaning of the last sentence was already very clear. Cancelled his match with the power of the galaxy, and now there is a male god who matches 100% of himself, and the meaning of it is needless to say. "Yes, Queen, I'll go now." Angel Hiko immediately received the order and planned to set off immediately. "Go ahead." Queen Keisha nodded in response. After Angel Yen left, it was only then that Tsuruhi spoke. "Tisk, look at this monkey anxious look, where is there still the appearance of the left wing guard?" Hearing the old goblin's words, Queen Keisha spoke in a helpless tone. "You're no better, to be honest, you don't think about it. I feel like the other party is very suitable for you." After hearing Queen Keisha's words, Heshi gave the other party a big roll of his eyes and said, "Go, you take care of yourself. Are you addicted to being a matchmaker, and you hit me with the idea? I'm not doing this for your own good." After Zhao Fei and Heshi on the other side finished the communication, they looked at the silver blade in their hands and muttered in their hearts, "This thing was not mentioned by the other party. It was probably given to himself, so he had to reluctantly accept it." When Zhao Fei packed everything, he thought about it and thought that he didn't need to go back in such a hurry. After all, Morgana would have to do it by herself for at least half a month according to the timeline, and half a month seemed to be quite idle. Or take a stroll here. Then Zhao Fei came to the city center and chose the most luxurious hotel to check in, and opened a presidential suite without hesitation. After sighing, he started his engine, swept the whole room, and found that there were no bugs or cameras or anything like that, so he took a bath with peace of mind. After all, I'd been working hard all day today, and I'm finally relaxed. Immediately after getting dressed again, I planned to go down for a walk. Walking on the street and feeling the excitement and exotic customs, Zhao Fei also started his own foodie journey, and when he saw something delicious along the way, he would buy one with a wave of his hand to taste it. Unconsciously, after shopping for more than an hour, Zhao Fei also felt that his appetite was satisfied, and came to a bar, planning to experience it. After all, he was strictly controlled when he was in Huaxia before, and he never had the opportunity to come to this kind of place. I saw that after entering, there was noisy music, and all kinds of people were dancing. Zhao Fei gave him a mixed feeling at a glance, such as a few people hiding in the corner. One of them took out a small bag of white things, and the other person stuffed the money to the other party. Among them, men and women sat together and drank, and someone secretly put a pill into a wine glass. It's just a pity that all this has nothing to do with Zhao Fei. He did it, and directly asked the bartender to bring him the strongest drink at the bar. And when the bartender heard his request, he also looked at him in surprise. After all, it was the first time he saw such a young Chinese face, and he asked for the strongest wine. Zhao Fei ignored the other party's eyes, and directly took out 1,000 meters of gold, and put it on the table to let him hurry up, and gave him a tip for the rest. To be honest, Zhao Fei really didn't feel heartache to spend this money. After all, it was all collected at Su Marie's house. After the bartender saw Zhao Fei so generous, he acted quickly, and after a while, the things that Zhao Fei wanted were already placed in front of him. After Zhao Fei took a sip, he couldn't help frowning. He felt that he couldn't get used to drinking this thing, and muttered in his heart, it was better to drink beer. Just when Zhao Fei was sitting there quietly, suddenly a beautiful woman with long brown hair stepped forward to talk, and she also spoke fluent Chinese. Hi, handsome guy from Huaxia, are you interested in inviting me for a drink? Zhao Fei didn't expect that he could encounter the plot of accosting, but when he looked at it, he felt that the person in front of him was so embarrassed. Immediately afterwards, Zhao Fei changed and swept the identity of the other party, and it turned out to be an agent of the Hate People Alliance, known as the Black Widow. Isn't this a super god version of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Interestingly, it seems that when he first came to North America, the other party had already set his sights on him, otherwise it would not have been possible to send their agents to approach him so quickly. Well, it's my pleasure. After Zhao Fei finished speaking, he typed a cardboard box, meaning to let the bartender serve another glass of wine with a woman. The beauty was not polite, and after taking a sip of wine, she chatted with Zhao Fei. Little handsome guy, it's really rare for such a young Chinese person like you to come to this kind of place alone. As soon as Zhao Fei heard it, he knew that the other party was starting to trick him, but he didn't choose to expose it, but raised his eyebrows and said in a meaningful tone, Oh, then this beautiful woman listens to your tone, you come to this place a lot. Black Widow didn't expect Zhao Fei to say this, but over the years, the good qualities of being an agent made her react quickly. Giggles, guess! After finishing speaking, he also gave Zhao Fei a look of his own experience. Immediately afterwards, Zhao Fei and the other party chatted with each other, and unconsciously, he and the agent had already drunk a lot of wine. And this agent's sister focused on her drunk appearance at the moment, and poured on Zhao Fei's body. And Zhao Fei also focused on the nervous appearance, shouted a few words to him, and pushed a bunch of rice gold in front of the bartender after he found that there was no response. Then he took the Black Widow away in the envious eyes of the other party. Zhao Fei didn't plan to do anything to the other party, but directly opened the wormhole, took the other party to a place similar to a base, and then directly threw it on the ground and said, This beautiful sister, your home has arrived. If you read a violent novel, go to Feilun Novel Network. It turned out that Zhao Fei had already located the other party's lair. The Black Widow who was thrown to the ground by Zhao Fei also quickly stood up and looked at Zhao Fei with a vigilant expression, and at this time, the alarm at the base also sounded. After a while, countless well-dressed soldiers had already surrounded Zhao Fei. And when the Black Widow saw her man coming, she also showed a relaxed expression on her face, and said, "Little handsome guy, you really won't pity the jade, that fall hurt me so much. Can you tell my sister what you're here for?" "I don't feel like that." Immediately after Zhao Fei moved, when the other party heard Zhao Fei say this, he had already ordered everyone to shoot. But it's a pity that a toy like this can't hurt Zhao Fei at all, and in less than 10 seconds, no one is standing there except Black Widow. Zhao Fei spoke to the other party in a perfect tone. "What other means does this sister have to use to subdue me? Don't you have all the information you want?" For this situation, Black Widow had no choice but to report truthfully, the person in charge here. When the two sides had a good talk, Black Widow looked at Zhao Fei with a smile on her face. "So would you like to wait?" Zhao Fei made a gesture of invitation and said, "You feel free." After a while, a bunch of people in strange costumes appeared, and in front of Zhao Fei barely recognized the identities of these people after a glance. But after sensing the energy on the other party, the most awesome thing is still a guy with a hammer, who has the strength of a second-generation super soldier. It is estimated that this product should also belong to an alien civilization, but I chose to come to North America to mix, because the equipment and weapons on the other party cannot be a product of the Earth. Zhao Fei really wanted to say to the other party, "The water on the Earth is too deep, you can't grasp it, hurry home." Looking at this group of guys, Zhao Fei shook his head in disappointment and lost interest. A guy with a shield on the other side walked out and spoke English. Zhao Fei probably understood what he meant. It was nothing more than to let him obediently tie his hands and arrest him. But Zhao Fei chose to raise a middle finger in response to the other party's words. At this time, everyone was angry, especially the one who took the shield and rushed in front of Zhao Fei for the first time. Zhao Fei was not polite, and directly punched through his shield and hit his body. The huge impact made him spit out a mouthful of blood unconsciously, and the whole person flew up. In the process of flying, he knocked down several people before he was caught. And Zhao Fei's punch made the eyes of everyone present change. Originally thought it was a little Karami who could be handled, but he didn't expect it to be a hard stubble. The Thor who was holding the hammer directly threw the Thunder God's hammer in his hand, and there was a sound of air explosion when the hammer was thrown, but it was a pity that it was easily caught by Zhao Fei. After Zhao Fei caught the hammer, he looked at the thing in his hand, and felt that the quality was not good. It was better than an ordinary weapon, and it could be used as a toy to play with, and after finishing speaking, he directly put the hammer away. And when the Thor saw that his weapon was taken away, he glared at Zhao Fei and screamed. Zhao Fei didn't have the heart to play with them at the moment, so he rushed directly to the crowd, and each of them gave a punch or kick, but the result, including the second-generation super soldier, couldn't stand up again. Zhao Fei looked at the only Black Widow standing in the audience, and his legs were trembling. Zhao Fei didn't plan to do anything to the other party. After all, a big beauty was really a little bit of a big beauty now, so with a sunny smile on her face, she said to the other party, "Beauty, it seems that you are not capable of doing anything to me. Then I'll go back to sleep, and have a good night's sleep." After finishing speaking, Zhao Fei directly opened the wormhole and returned to the hotel. Only the man who fell to the ground was left, and a beautiful agent who had not recovered from her silence and fear. When Zhao Fei returned to the room, he stretched comfortably. I have to say that the feeling of abusing vegetables is really good, and these people don't have any psychological burden when they abuse them. Zhao Fei felt that he was sweating a little bit after going out, so he decided to take another bath and fell asleep comfortably on the bed. Unlike Zhao Fei's leisurely state, the Haters' Alliance has become a mess at this moment, and after their Supreme Commander came to the scene and saw this scene, the whole popularity was not wanted. Through the report of the Black Widow, it was done by a Huaxia man who broke into their side before, and the commander contacted the high level without saying a word and asked them to put pressure on the Huaxia side. I have to say that their efficiency is really fast enough at this time, and this news was received by Ducao, who had already taken a break from work, after a while. When he got dressed again and came to the command center, he asked Lian Feng, who came back to work overtime. Mercy Feng, they said that a Chinese attacked. What the hell is going on with them? Report to the general. It should have been done by Zhao Fei, and the other party also snatched the weapon of that Thor. When Dikao heard the name, his brows jumped, and he gritted his teeth and said, "That kid has nothing to do when he is full. What is he doing when he goes abroad to attack the 500 Haters Alliance? Can Mercy Wind get in touch with each other?" "General, I've tried, but the other party hasn't responded." Du Cao thought about it after hearing Mercy Feng's words, and decided to leave the matter behind. After all, this kid was not one of their people. "Mercy Feng, you tell them that this super soldier is not their person, and his actions have nothing to do with Huaxia." "Yes, General." When he heard Ducao's words, he reported back to his superiors. Du Cao was thinking in his heart at the moment that this kid had caused himself to solve the trouble. The other party of the opposite sex was only a member of the Super Divine Academy, and he was not a member of the Male Soldier Company, so he had no reason to be responsible for this guy. Zhao Fei didn't know what was going on, and slept peacefully until the next morning, when he opened his eyes and saw the crystal lamp hanging high. The first thing he did after getting up was to sign in daily, but today he was not very lucky, and he signed out a pack of toilet paper. For this situation, Zhao Fei just pouted and threw the paper towel into the dark plane. "It seems that the feng shui here is not very good, and I still have to go back to Huaxia to sign in." Then he closed his eyes and went to daily training, and when the training was over, Zhao Fei felt as if he was used to the feeling of death. Forget it, no matter, start his own wandering trip. In just 1 week, Zhao Fei has visited many places, and at the same time he found that every time he went to a place for a while, someone was watching, but Zhao Fei didn't pay attention. He still went his own way, eating what he should eat, and drinking what he should drink. When he felt bored, he chose to go back to Huaxia, and the person who had been monitoring him felt relieved after discovering that Zhao Fei had flown to Huaxia, and finally sent the plague god away. The reason why they didn't act rashly was entirely because the Thor woke up and explained to them that Zhao Fei belonged to the 3rd generation of super soldiers, from the level of gods, and he was completely capable of destroying them if he provoked the other party. So they saw that Zhao Fei was just wandering around, and he didn't do anything bad, so they just sent 2 people to monitor him. When Zhao Fei returned to Jixia City, he felt that his whole senses were different, but to his surprise, he was intercepted by someone in the air, and the person who intercepted him was his old acquaintance Angel Yen. "Yo, little boy, you've had a lot of fun these days. Have you missed my sister these days?" Angel Yen had already arrived on Earth a few days ago, but he found that Zhao Fei was wandering abroad, and he didn't look for him, and when he came back, he flew here directly to intercept him. Zhao Fei only pursed his lips after hearing Angel Yan's provocative words, and then said, a straight man of steel, "How can I not think about you all day long? After all, you still have to bring me something." Angel Yen felt quite happy when she heard the previous sentence, but the latter straight man's speech instantly broke her defense. She is a thunderous god of war, she wants to have a figure, she wants to look good, and the person who chases her can circle the earth several times. But this guy only thinks she is a tool person? Thinking of this, he felt unconvinced, and the whole angel was attached to Zhao Fei's body, and her face gradually approached Zhao Fei's seductive tone, and she said, "Little male god, don't you have anything else to think about besides letting me bring something? It's not good to lie." Zhao Fei felt the breath of Angel Yen, and the whole person felt a little unbearable, so he hurriedly opened his mouth to warn. "I'm telling you not to mess around, don't blame me for what happened. You know, you're playing with fire." "Oh, what do you want to do with me?" Angel Yen looked at Zhao Fei with innocent eyes, looking ignorant. Angel Yen didn't take Zhao Fei's warning to heart, but posted it one step further. As for why she did this, first of all, Zhao Fei was the male god she personally determined, and then she didn't think that the other party could do anything to her. He was the thundering god of war in the Megatron universe, the pinnacle of 3 generations of super soldiers. And Zhao Fei was only a 2nd-generation super soldier when he left, and the gap can be imagined. It's just a pity that her news is lagging behind. otherwise she wouldn't dare to be so prodigal. If you read a violent novel, go to Feilun Novel Network. And Zhao Fei is not a decent gentleman. As for the female agent who let go abroad before, it is nothing more than that he doesn't look down on the other party. Now that there is one who sees it himself, and he dares to play with fire like this, then he will not be polite. I saw that he stretched out a hand and wrapped his arms around Angel Hiko's waist, so that the other party couldn't move, and then the other hand picked up Angel Hiko's chin, with a wicked smile on his face. Since you took the initiative to send it to the door, Uncle Ben won't be polite to you. And when Angel Yen was hugged by Zhao Fei's waist, she felt that something was wrong, and when she wanted to struggle to leave, she suddenly found that she couldn't break free from the other party's embrace. Then Zhao Fei picked her chin, his face got closer and closer and began to struggle, but he sadly found that no matter how much he struggled, it was useless. The other party's strength was too great, and he didn't look like a second-generation super soldier at all. I'm telling you, don't mess around. If you dare to mess around, I won't let you go. Kid, am I wrong? Angel Yen wanted to threaten the other party at first, but saw that Zhao Fei was indifferent to this, but let her face get closer and closer, and then she knew that she had overturned, so she begged for mercy. But Zhao Fei is not the kind of person who has to pretend to push out of the door when this kind of meat is sent to the door. If it was before, he really didn't dare to mess around, but since he finished talking to Hashi and knew the angel's attitude towards him, he dared to be as unscrupulous as he is now. Under Angel Yan's incredulous gaze, Zhao Fei kissed him without hesitation, and only let go of the other party after 5 minutes. After being separated, Angel Yen immediately stayed away from Zhao Fei several meters away, for fear that this guy would come to another surprise attack, and then wiped his mouth frantically, with a disgusted expression on his face. Although Zhao Fei is her future male god, but suddenly there is such a situation of giving for nothing, no one can stand it, and she also plans to observe the other party for 1,000 years. Unlike Angel Yen, Zhao Fei felt that he had earned it. Angel Yen, who was originally wiping his mouth from a distance, heard Zhao Fei's words, and a few green tendons unconsciously appeared on his temples, and he looked at Zhao Fei through gritted teeth, thinking in his heart that this damn guy was cheap and behaved. The more she thought about it, the more angry she became, and decided to teach this guy a lesson. At this time Angel Yen had already lost her mind a little bit, otherwise she would definitely think of the scene when she couldn't break free from his arms before. Immediately afterwards, he took out the flame sword from the dark plane, pointed at Zhao Fei and said, "You just took advantage of me, and you took advantage of it so much, now let's die." That was the old lady's first kiss. Then he rushed forward directly. Zhao Fei looked at the Angel Yen who looked like this, and he didn't dare to drag it up, and directly carried out his weapons and armor from the dark plane. With a pong, Zhao Fei blocked Angel Yan's sword with the sword in his hand, and said in his mouth, "Calm down, don't be so excited. Where have you gone in your cultivation as an angel for thousands of years?" Angel Yen smiled coldly after hearing Zhao Fei's words. "You should feed the dogs." After finishing speaking, he continued to wave his weapon to attack Zhao Fei. In this regard, Zhao Fei had no choice but to continue to block. After all, he had already made a lot of money, and if he fought back, he was really not human. While blocking Angel Yan's attack, Zhao Fei still said in his mouth, "Calm down, just now you said that this is your first kiss, so why shouldn't I also kiss for the first time?" It's just that at this time, Zhao Fei added in his heart that it was today's first kiss. 5.2. But it's a pity that Angel Yan's words next debunked his excuse. "Your first kiss? This is a liar, isn't it? Really, the old lady didn't look at Qi Lin's dark data?" Zhao Fei shouted in his heart when he heard it. He couldn't imagine that Tianyu was so undevoid of martial arts that he had actually observed Qi Lin's dark data. "What, today's first kiss is also the first kiss? There is nothing wrong with my words." Zhao Fei felt that he could still save it. After all, he really didn't want to fight with the other party. But unfortunately, after Angel Yen heard Zhao Fei's words, he attacked more fiercely. Zhao Fei could only helplessly block this, and Tianyong himself was really annoyed at first, and planned to teach Zhao Fei, an immature little male god, such a lesson. It's just that when he was fighting, he suddenly found something wrong. After all, this kid didn't know why his melee ability had increased so much, and he didn't even take down the other party for a while. And I don't know why there is a hint of familiarity in the swordsmanship of this little male god. Is this a swollen thing? When Zhao Fei once again blocked Angel Yan's attack, the two sides distanced themselves a little, and Angel Yan looked at Zhao Fei with strange eyes and said, "Little male god, why did I feel the shadow of an angel in your move just now?" After Zhao Fei heard Angel Yan's words, he muttered in his heart, "Isn't this nonsense? This is your family's Tianji King sword move, but it is impossible for him to say this matter himself, otherwise it will not be explained clearly." A surprised expression appeared on his face, and he responded, "How is that possible? Obviously, I am usually bored and have nothing to do. Now it's your angel who says it out of your mouth. You are a scoundrel." After Angel Yan heard Zhao Fei's words, she couldn't help frowning. She always felt that there was something wrong inside, but it was a pity that she had no evidence. Because she did see a trace of the shadow of the Tianji King in Zhao Fei's swordsmanship. The swordsmanship that their angels are now teaching contains the moves of Queen Kaisha and King Tianji, and then evolved, slowly forming the current set of swordsmanship that all angel warriors learn. In her eyes, the moves that Zhao Fei is using now are not what their angel warriors have learned, but on the angel's tutorial video, there is a video of the two queens demonstrating swordsmanship, and in such a comparison, Angel Yan feels more and more exactly the same as the Tianji King. 29 Forget it, fight him again, see what the situation is, and observe it carefully. Immediately afterwards, he picked up the flaming sword in his hand again and rushed towards Zhao Fei. And Zhao Fei couldn't have imagined at this time that Angel Yan, who had just stopped, suddenly burst out and attacked him. Caught off guard, he hurriedly blocked, and shouted loudly, "I'm telling you, if you don't stop, I'm going to fight back." Angel Yan heard Zhao Fei's words and his moves became even more spicy, and he said, "Hee, the child has the ability to show me a hand. I'd love to see what you're up to." After Zhao Fei heard the angel's words, his eyes became a little serious, and he decided to be serious and teach this little angel a lesson. At this time, Zhao Fei clenched the long sword in his hand with both hands, and swung it hard, causing a collision between the two weapons to emit an impact force that radiated outward. When the two weapons collided, Angel Hiko showed a hellish expression, only to see that the flaming sword in her hand actually cracked. She shouted in her heart that this was impossible. As one of the top 5 weapons in the universe, it was actually split by someone with a sword, and no one dared to believe this kind of thing. It's just that this time she didn't wait for her surprise. Zhao Fei continued to attack, and she could only raise the force prophets in her hand to block. I saw that when Zhao Fei approved the third sword, her flaming sword was directly broken into 2. In this regard, Zhao Fei did not continue to attack, but wore a sneering expression on his face. "Why bother? Why do you have to force me to do it? You see that a good weapon is just scrapped, it's a waste." At this time, Angel Yan looked at the remaining half of the long sword in his hand blankly, and after a while, he raised his head and looked at Zhao Fei with cannibalistic eyes, which made Zhao Fei frightened for a while. "Isn't it just a broken sword? Do you want to make a bitter appearance?" After looking at Zhao Fei and saying this sentence with a light face, Angel Yan gritted his teeth and replied, "This flaming sword has been with me for thousands of years, and now you are better to help me cut it off. Tell me, how can I thank you?" Zhao Fei couldn't imagine that a weapon could be used for so long. Did the shelf life of their angel weapon be so good? But he couldn't say this now, and could only say in a slightly tentative tone, In fact, you don't have to thank me. According to what you said, it has been used for thousands of years, and it is time to replace it with a new one. As the so-called old ones don't go, new ones don't come, right?" "You're quite right. Little male god, I decided to give you a little lesson to learn to keep a low profile." After Angel Yan finished saying this, he immediately took out a brand new flaming sword and flew into the air with the intention of teaching this little male god a small lesson. After all, this guy is too scared. Seeing that the flaming sword in Angel Yan's hand began to gather a wave of stellar energy, Zhao Fei looked at it and knew what the other party was going to do, and shouted in his heart. He seemed to have gotten rid of it. Just then, a voice suddenly appeared. Stop! This kind of mass destruction is not allowed here. I believe that the righteousness of your angels does not allow you to do this for no reason. Zhao Fei saw that it was Rina, and he didn't know when he appeared. It turned out that Rina touched the neighborhood not long ago, and when she saw Tian using the flaming sword in her hand to gather stellar energy, she knew what the other party wanted to do, so she no longer hid to the side to watch the show, and chose to run out to stop it. At this time, Angel Yen also calmed down after hearing Rina's words, and indeed he used the heavenly blade trial for no reason, which was against justice, and the male god in front of him was his future, but because he had just experienced a double stimulation, her head was pumped. Rina also breathed a sigh of relief when she saw Angel Yen stop, and at this time, Zhao Fei leaned forward and asked curiously. I said, Goddess, why did you appear here? Read the violent novel. Go to the Feilun Novel Network. Rina glanced at him angrily after hearing Zhao Fei's voice, and then opened her mouth to complain. You're too embarrassed to ask why I'm here? Don't you look at what you've been doing all this time? Just fool around abroad, and prepare to go back to Jixia City and do it with people again. As soon as Takeo received the news that you were fighting with this angel here, he immediately contacted me and asked me to come and stop it. It's good that I'm here, otherwise I don't know what would have happened. It turned out that when Zhao Fei and Angel Yen were fighting, Du Cao on the giant gorge had already received an alarm, and when he saw that Zhao Fei was doing something again, he immediately contacted Rina to stop the other party. After all, the location where they were fighting was a little close to the city, and with the energy they detected, once the two sides broke out, it would be a catastrophe for Jixia City. After Rina received this message, she rushed over non-stop, and when she first arrived, she saw Zhao Fei slashing the flaming sword with one sword. Shocked, her jaw almost couldn't close. After all, it was a sharp sword, and it was directly split into two knots, and she wanted Zhao Fei to study what his weapon was for her. Then she saw that this angel did not speak of martial virtue and wanted to launch the heavenly blade judgment, so she immediately ran out to stop it. Zhao Fei also had a slightly embarrassed expression on his face for Rina's complaints. It was indeed a bit too much for himself. After all, this place was not far from the city. Goddess, don't worry too much, we're just talking. After Rina heard Zhao Fei's words, she clasped her hands in front of her chest, and a sneer appeared on her face. You're stupid to me. The other party's weapons are broken. If I hadn't come out to stop the other party, I would have opened it up. At this time, Angel Yen also flew over and said, What do you think of us angels? What I just did just now was purely going to affect him personally, not anywhere else. It's not 100% output. After Zhao Fei heard the other party's words, he also showed an unhappy expression on his face. It doesn't matter if feelings only affect me in your eyes, 993, right? Or else? Rina didn't know what to say after hearing the words of the two of them, so she finally thought about it and waved her hand with a helpless expression on her face. Forget it, as long as you don't go too far, you can do whatever you like. I don't care. Then Rina stepped aside, looking like she was rotten, and now looking at the behavior of the two people arguing, she knew at a glance that it was a private matter, and this matter was not in her own hands, and she couldn't manage it herself. You just broke my weapon, how do you settle this account? And the previous thing, you don't want to run. After Zhao Fei heard Angel Yan's words, he felt a toothache, as if he had returned to the original point, and asked in a tentative tone, Why don't I stand still and chop you for 10 minutes? Well, what you say is a deal. Angel Yen decisively agreed. At this time she was very interested in the equipment on Zhao Fei's body. The weapon that could destroy her flame sword was also the set of armor similar to Wang armor. The material was unknown. She wanted to try the defense of this thing. Okay, that's it. After Zhao Fei said this, he directly chose the entire set of armor to wrap himself, and the helmet on his head automatically covered Zhao Fei's entire face. including the whole body armor connected to his neck. Wrapped in armor all over his body, plus a cloak for a while, to outsiders, Zhao Fei's image at this moment was like a god of war standing there. Rina, who was playing soy sauce on the side, couldn't help but say after seeing Zhao Fei's image, "It's so cool." Looking at the majestic Zhao Fei at this moment, Angel Yan's eyes also showed a trace of satisfaction. At least at the moment, not to mention the strength of the other party, the temperament alone has been mastered. At this time, not only Angel Yan thought so, but Rina, who was eating melons on the side, remembered the group of crooked melons and cracked dates under her hands, and the comparison felt that there was no comparison between the two. Little male god, be careful. Come on. For Angel Yan's reminder, Zhao Fei just raised his hand, and the other party hooked his finger in response. Angel Yan was not polite when he saw Zhao Fei's movements, and first slashed at it with the flame sword, only to find that he couldn't even leave a white mark. In this case, Angel Yan squinted his eyes slightly, and was not surprised, and decided to try another way. Linked to the treasure house of sacred knowledge. Constructing the power of thunder. Construction completed. Immediately after that, Angel Hiko raised his hand, and the power of thunder flashing with blue light flashed out in his hand. Picked up. Said that the thunderbolt was launched and smashed directly into Zhao Fei's body. Bang! The moment it came into contact with the armor, there was a big explosion, but unfortunately it was still undamaged. This time it was Hiko's turn to be surprised. I didn't expect this thing to be so hard. Could it be that he would need to use a silver weapon? Don't think about it anymore, there is no such thing. Angel Yan directly protects through divine knowledge, and plans to analyze the other party's material, wanting to see what the hell this is. Analyzing. 1%, 0.2%, 0.3%. Analysis failed, method analysis. Angel Yan didn't expect that he would analyze the failure, so he analyzed the opponent's weaknesses. Analyzing. 1%, 0.2%, 0.3%. Insufficient computing power, unable to analyze. Continue to increase the computing power until the analysis is determined, and Angel Yan immediately increases the computing power with his left wing guard authority. I have strengthened it and am reanalyzing. 1%, 0.5%, 0.20%, 0.30%, 0.50%, 0.70%, 0.85%, 100%. Analysis results. This target can resist the superstar Nu. You can try to hit it into the black hole. After hearing the results of the analysis of the treasure house of divine knowledge, Angel Hiko fell silent. And at this time, the voice of divine Keisha rang in Angel Hiko's ears. Hiko, what just happened? You've used so many examples. Angel Yan silently sent the settlement result just now to Queen Kaisha, and Queen Kaisha on the other side was silent after receiving it, and then hurriedly spoke. Yan, observe the other party a lot during this time. If Morgana shows up and wants to pull him into the demon camp, don't be polite to her, just burn her. Queen Kaisha couldn't imagine that this guy was capable of carrying the supernova, and even she couldn't do it this time, so at this moment, Zhao Fei's chips were a little heavier in her heart. Thinking that his rebellious sister might go to Earth to meet this kind of super soldier, how could he let it go? So he arranged for Angel Yan to protect the other party from being brainwashed by her stupid sister. After all, no matter what, the little guy in front of him is just a young man with strong blood, and he is the easiest to go down the wrong path. Yes, Queen. After Angel Yan responded, Queen Kaisha also hung up the communication. At this time, Angel Yan put away his weapon and said to Zhao Fei, Little male god, don't fight. With my current strength, it is impossible to cause you the slightest harm. Rina on the side felt a little confused. What's going on? Suddenly, she stopped fighting. She still wanted to eat melons, but she thought of the other party's angel. With the support of knowledge protection, it is estimated that he finds himself incapable of breaking the opponent's defenses. After hearing the words of the angel banquet, Zhao Fei also put away his equipment and said to her, It's something you said you wouldn't fight, and it has nothing to do with me. Then it's over, let's write it off. Oh no, you still owe me something. Hee. Settle down, the little male god, this little thing, my sister won't owe you nothing. I'll pass the information to you first, and with the rest of the equipment, I'll go with you to the Super Divine Academy and give it to people in person. Okay. After Zhao Fei made a gesture, he began to accept the information sent by Angel Yen. A torrent of data poured into Zhao Fei's dark plane at once. After a few minutes, Zhao Fei's eyes were still closed, and Angel Yen said with a smile on his face, "Little male god, the information has been given to you, and the rest will be digested slowly." It took another Zhao Fei to open his eyes, and after browsing for a while, he sighed in his heart that he had a lot to learn. Let's go to the Super Seminary." Then he looked at Rena, meaning to go back to the Super Seminary. Rena, who was watching a PY from the side, reacted and nodded hurriedly. "Let's go." Immediately after that, the three of them flew towards the Super Divine Academy, and the unhappiness arrived. After all, the speed of the past 3 years was not slow at all, especially Zhao Fei deliberately slowed down in order to wait for these two people. At this time, everyone was training and saw Rena come back, and there was Zhao Fei, who had been missing for a week, and a super beautiful angel on the side. Stopped what he was doing for a while, especially the whose eyes were already straight at this time. Every day. Angel. Master, I actually saw a real angel. Emma, even if there are aliens, even angels exist. Rena looked at everyone's unpromising looks, pointed to everyone and said, "Can you have a little bit of interest? Isn't it just an angel? Do you want to drop your eyeballs? Read violent novels, go to Feilun Novel Network. Hurry up and go for a run. By the way, Kiran, you stay." Immediately after that, everyone was driven away by Rena, except for Qilin. At this time, Qilin looked at Zhao Fei, and then at the angel on the side, with a dissatisfied expression on her face. She thought that Zhao Fei was not here this week, so she just ran to mess around with this angel. So even looking at Angel Hiko's eyes is not too friendly. "Sister Qilin, I haven't seen you for a few days. I miss you to death." After hearing Zhao Fei's words, Qilin snorted coldly. "Humph, with such a big angel by your side, I guess you're crazy. How can you think of me?" After Zhao Fei heard Qilin's sour words, he knew that the other party wanted to be crooked. "Ahem, you misunderstood. Angel Yen was met on my way back to the Chao Divine Academy. Mainly to deliver me something." After hearing Zhao Fei's words, Qilin looked at him with suspicious eyes and asked in a puzzled tone, "Really?" "Of course it's true." Looking at Zhao Fei's assurance, Qilin also had a smile on his face. "Humph. I'll just believe you." Zhao Fei looked at Qilin with an arrogant face, and had a different feeling. At this moment, Rena on the side coughed. "Ahem. I said that the two of you are going to flirt. Can you get down to business at another time?" When Qilin heard Rena's words, her face couldn't help but turn red. "What, Hiko, please take your things out." Angel Yen, who was silent on the sidelines, had been observing the interaction between Zhao Fei and Qilin, and probably understood the weight of the other party in Zhao Fei's heart. Although it is a very threatening opponent, it is a pity that the other party can only live for 1,000 years, and after 1,000 years, Zhao Fei will be completely hers. Something is up to me. After hearing Zhao Fei's words, Angel Yen waved his hand without hesitation, and a set of armor appeared in front of everyone. "Qilin, this armor is for you. Like you, the garbage is to death, and there is no security at all. Throw it away." At this time, Angel Hiko looked at black armor and then at Rena. After Rena saw Angel Hiko's movements, her face also darkened, and she hurriedly spoke. "Qilin, let me tell you that the black armor materials are provided by our Liang, but it is not up to us to do this in the Liang. If there's a problem, you go to Dikao." Rena didn't want her little sister to misunderstand, so she immediately explained. Qilin nodded when she heard Rena's words. "Don't worry, Sister Na, I still understand these things." Rena looked at Qilin's eyes and knew that the other party didn't want to be crooked, and she was relieved in her heart. Qilin can be regarded as one of her few friends, so she doesn't want the other party to have any bad impression of her. "Sister, hurry up and put it on and try it." Zhao Fei hurriedly urged Qilin to put on this armor and try how it felt. Qilin nodded, and after putting on this set of black feet, she suddenly felt that her defense and other aspects were much better than her own set of black armor. It can be said that the two sides are completely incomparable. Dumbo, thank you. Qilin had a sweet smile on her face and thanked Zhao Fei. For Qilin's thanks, Zhao Fei waved his hand magnificently. Hey, it's all a family, what's there to thank for a taxi? After all, you're safe, and I can rest assured. Oh, by the way, there's one more thing for you. Immediately after, Zhao Fei took out a silver dagger under the gaze of everyone. Angel Hiko's pupils shrank immediately when he saw this thing. How did you get this thing? It's not a strange thing, what's wrong with me having it? Don't you know that this is something that the angels forbid to flow out? I'm going to recycle this thing. After Zhao Fei heard Angel Yan's words, he looked at the other party with disdain. Go and go, you want to prostitute yourself here for nothing, no way. You want to come to me as soon as you open your mouth, take our loot, what are you thinking? If you really want to, help me upgrade Qilin to the 2nd generation, otherwise don't think about it. Angel Yan looked at Zhao Fei, who looked like an underworld, and was also laughed at angrily. Does this guy know how many resources it takes to upgrade the 2nd generation? Fuck off. This deal is completely unequal, don't you have a little bit of pressure in mind? Of course I know it's wrong, otherwise why would I come to trade with you? Do you think I'm like the kind of guy who would do a clearance sale? Seeing Zhao Fei's natural answer, even if Angel Yan was well cultivated, he couldn't help but burst out about the current situation. Damn, you're taking me for the wrong. In this regard, Zhao Fei also sent it back unceremoniously. Isn't this obvious? Just now you didn't think I was a fool and wanted to come to prostitute for nothing. Angel Hiko looked at the slut in front of him and wanted to chop him up, but thought of the gap between the strengths of the two sides. I still held back this breath. Anyway, this thing can't be leaked, it's too dangerous, it has to be recycled, I can exchange something else with you. Go, your 2 kings didn't tell me to go back, don't worry about you little angel here. After hearing Zhao Fei's words, Angel Yan was shocked in his heart. Why do you still have something to do with your own queen? The queen knows about this? Isn't that nonsense? It's my trophy, and you've heard of that guy's identity. Who? At this moment, Angel Yan thought in his heart, could it be a scum? After all, this thing has basically been controlled by female angels except for the 417th generation of the Heavenly Palace. Next, Zhao Fei's words made Angel Yan confirm her conjecture. You've heard his name, Samari, who is known as the ancient god of slaughter. Angel Yan couldn't have imagined that the ancient apprentices they recorded were actually on Earth. How did he end up here? Hasn't he been banished to a remote planet? After hearing Angel Yan's words, Zhao Fei glanced at the other party with disdain. It seems that this product is also a scumbag. I said, Xiao Yanzi, when you were in the Angel Academy before, did you skip class all day long? It was Hua Yi who was banished, and this Su Marie had an unclear relationship with your Tianji king, so she was not banished to those places, but was sent here. Tut, it was said that the other party was banished and Kaisha took Hua Yi to a week without a woman, and as she threw Su Marie here, it's really different. After hearing Zhao Fei's words, Angel Yan directly pulled out the flame sword and pointed it at him. I won't allow you to insult the King of Heaven. How could she have done this on purpose? Silence. Zhao Fei directly launched the anti-void, causing the weapon in Angel Yan's hand to fall to the ground. I said that you are frizzy all day long, and you are careful that you will not be able to marry in the future. If you really don't believe it, you can call a messenger to ask Hashi now. Did Samari drop her here? Angel Yan got rid of the influence of the anti-void and returned to normal, and after hearing Zhao Fei's words, he began to feel a little weak in his heart. After all, the other party has already said so, and there's a high probability that this matter is true, so his behavior just now can be said to be very impolite. Qilin looked at the 2 people who were already cold at this time, took the lead in standing up, breaking the embarrassing atmosphere, and asked, You two, is it important to explain this dagger to me after talking for so long? At this time, Rena also stood up to Qilin Kop. This dagger is made of dark silver, and the only feature is that it is split, very sharp. Even the body can be cut open. The output of the silver is strictly controlled by the angels, resulting in the winning and losing weapons circulating in the universe. There aren't many at all. Rena had envy in her eyes, because he wanted this thing too. Is scarcity expensive? Qilin's mouth widened when she heard this. It's so rare. It's just that at this time, Zhao Fei forced a sentence out of place. It's said that Queen Keisha's arsenal is nothing more than rags. After Angel Yen heard Zhao Fei's whisper, he glared at him angrily, and at the same time wondered where this guy knew so many secrets of angels. There are a lot of things that even she doesn't know. The Queen has agreed to put it with you, so I don't care about it. I've already delivered the stuff, so I'll leave first. Zhao Fei immediately straightened his hand when he saw that Angel Yen was leaving, and made a gesture to hold back. Alas, don't be in a hurry to leave, it's hard for you to make this trip. Why don't you have a meal and then leave? You don't have to be polite with me, just eat as much as you want, and be full. The taste of the canteen here is still quite good. Angel Yen almost fell down after hearing Zhao Fei's words, and then turned his head and glared at Zhao Fei before rushing to the sky. At the same time, I thought in my heart that this little male god was too cheap. How do you train him well? That's a big problem. Looking at Angel Yen, who didn't look back, Zhao Fei continued to shout. It's true, it's rare for me to invite her to dinner so generously, and I don't appreciate it. At this time, the two people present gave him a white look angrily. Are you inviting someone to dinner? Are you sure it's not a meal at the White Prostitutes Super Seminary? Well, Sister Qilin, you put this thing away. Zhao Fei didn't care about the inner activities of these two people, and directly handed the dagger in his hand to Qilin. Qilin looked at Zhao Fei's hand. The dagger, which glowed coldly, swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Isn't that too precious? Isn't it just a dagger? How can there be anything precious or not? Hurry up and take it. If you read a violent novel, go to Feilu Novel Network. After saying this, he directly stuffed it into Qilin's hand. Qilin carefully looked at the dagger in his hand, touched its side, and felt a cold. And Rena, the goddess of the sun, suddenly became a little envious of Qilin. Why can't he meet a guy like Zhao Fei who sends equipment and weapons, Jai? And it's not the kind of ordinary goods. To be honest, her appearance is no worse than Qilin's, and she is also a Baifume. Why do you meet a group of big-footed men or old-fashioned? What about the gift of this goddess? Qilin has, you can't treat it differently, right? Zhao Fei looked at Rena, who stretched out her hand to ask for a gift from him, and choked for a while. He didn't prepare any gifts for the other party. What, goddess, do you owe it first? Go, I don't care, I want it now. Hearing Rena's almost willful words, Zhao Fei unconsciously broke out a few cold sweats on his forehead. You see, if it weren't for the goddess's appearance, you would have been judged by that angel with a heavenly blade. It's burned to ashes, so it's a life-saving grace. Now I'm looking for you for a gift, and I'm still pushing back, and I don't have any sincerity at all. Rena continued. And Qilin on the side didn't expect Zhao Fei to experience this kind of thing, and a worried expression appeared on her face. Is there a possibility that the other party's heavenly trial will not do me any harm? After hearing Zhao Fei's words, Rena originally wanted to say a word of nonsense, but suddenly she thought of Angel Yan's behavior before, and it was probably possible that this would really happen. After all, this guy directly cut off the opponent's weapons, and I heard Du Cao say that the two sides burst out with powerful energy to fight. Both sides, powerful energy? Rena felt as if she had discovered something, and asked in a tone of surprise. You fought the Angelus before, didn't you? Yes, what's the problem? Didn't you see it? Zhao Fei looked at the fight between Rena and Angel Yen in front of her with puzzled eyes. Didn't she see it in her eyes? Ahem, I just saw the scene when you cut off her weapon. Didn't watch the whole thing. When Zhao Fei heard this, it was so, no wonder he didn't find out that the other party had come at that time. Don't worry about the details, just answer my questions. Looking at Zhao Feilina, who suddenly realized her face. She also understood that the other party thought that he had been present. Tell me, what do you want to ask? Zhao Fei didn't hide it either. Said to let Rena ask. I want to ask, when you fight the other party, do you fight evenly or are you crushed? What do you want to ask? Just ask, there's no need to go around like this, it's not like you at all. Zhao Fei looked at the Han Han in front of him, and inquired about things in a way that went around and around, and always felt that this kind of behavior did not match this Han Han at all. So let her ask the questions she wanted to ask. After Rena heard Zhao Fei's refreshing words, she stopped going around and spoke directly. I just want to know what kind of strength you have now. Of course, if you don't feel comfortable answering, you cannot answer. It turned out that Rena was going around trying to inquire about his strength, and that's it? This is not to blame Rena. After all, since Zhao Fei defeated her last time, she felt that Zhao Fei's strength was wrong. No matter how powerful his genes are, it is impossible for a second-generation super soldier to appear. Win the battle of your own 3 generations of gods. So to sum up, in the words of the earth, this guy is a guy who likes to pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger. For this kind of person, in general, if you ask about the strength of the other party yourself, it is estimated that they will use other excuses to perfunctory themselves. That's why she went around like this, wanting to inquire about Zhao Fei's strength. It's just a pity that she is not naturally suitable to do this. But Zhao Fei didn't know that Rena would think so, and he had nothing to hide about Rena's problem. After all, the angels already knew his strength, so why hide it? Looking at the 2 people in front of him looking at him with curious faces, Zhao Fei decided to pretend. Ahem, I'm not strong. It is either the so-called 4 generations of gods, nor the imaginary 5 generations of gods. It's barely an ordinary 3rd-generation god. The 2 beauties present couldn't wait to bite him to death after hearing Zhao Fei's words. What is an ordinary good 3 generations of gods? Especially Rena, who directly complained about Zhao Fei. Do you have a problem with the word ordinary? At this time, Rena's heart was the most complicated, and she originally wanted to use the temptation of becoming a god to win over Zhao Fei. I didn't think that the other party was a god. It feels like she's behaving like a clown before. You, when this goddess wooed you before, were you watching me laugh? At this time, after hearing Rena's words, Qilin also reacted that the other party was full of sincerity to woo this product, but this guy actually treated others as a joke, which was a bit excessive. I didn't want to think about it, so I joined the preaching big army. That's it, Xiaofei is your fault this time. Sister Na was full of sincerity at that time. After Zhao Fei heard the words of these 2 people, he unconsciously showed a wry smile. It seems that the misunderstanding has been misunderstood, although he does have a little bit of a heart to hide, but he really doesn't. Look at each other as clowns. Stop! Zhao Fei hurriedly made a stop gesture, and the 2 stopped talking. First of all, I want to make it clear that I didn't take your actions as a joke at all. Although I did have hidden strength before, it was also the strength of 3 generations of super soldiers. Becoming a god is a matter of the past few days. Zhao Fei hurriedly opened his mouth to explain, otherwise he would definitely be nagged by these 2 people crazy again. Really? Rena's tone was filled with disbelief. Nonsense, do I have to lie to you? After hearing Zhao Fei's words, Qilin thought of blaming the other party for his behavior without asking clearly. I was ashamed. Xiao Fei, I didn't figure out what happened just now, so I said you. I'm so sorry. Looking at Qilin, who apologized to him, Zhao Fei chose to put his head aside, and his whole face was full of the words, unhappy. Humph, if an apology is useful, why do you want the police to do it? Well, you forgot that Kirin was a police officer before. At this time, Rena said such an inopportune sentence, and then he ushered in Zhao Fei's death eyes. Instantly, he shrunk his neck and took 2 steps back. Thinking about my sister in my heart, you can ask for more blessings. After all, this is your family matter, and I am not an outsider to help. It's just that Rena seems to have forgotten that he is the culprit, and Qilin is just an accomplice. Qilin looked at Zhao Fei, whose face was full of the words. I'm unhappy. I can't help but think in my heart, when did this guy become so arrogant? With a sigh, he spoke. Say, it's my fault this time, what do you want? When Zhao Fei heard Qilin's words, he immediately performed a wave of face changes, and suddenly became a hippie smile. Since you've said so, I'm too embarrassed not to ask for it. Today's Zhao Fei had a wicked smile on his face, smelling to Qilin's ears, and after whispering a few words, Qilin's face instantly turned red like a monkey, and he ran away instantly after scolding Zhao Fei for being perverted. Zhao Fei didn't expect the other party to be so careless and ran away directly, and shouted at Qilin's fleeing back. Sister Qilin, do you agree or not? Tut tut, you guys are really playing, you can't learn. At this time, Rina's voice rang out inappropriately, and Zhao Fei remembered that he forgot that this Henan goddess was on the side. The other party is a super soldier, how can you not hear it at such a close distance? If you can't learn it, then I'll teach you. Came to my room tonight. I will definitely let you learn. Zhao Fei resolutely fought back against Rina's ridicule. If you want me to call you daddy, it's impossible in this life. You're a pervert. Rina is not angry. This guy actually asked Qilin to go to his room in a police uniform tonight to shout to his father to apologize. Compared to those stinky dicks, this thing is a pervert. Zhao Fei was immediately unhappy when he heard that. Hey, you have to be responsible for what you say. What's wrong with this? And what's wrong with a man being a little perverted? After Rina heard Zhao Fei's words, her mouth opened wide, and she could stuff an egg. Because she never thought she would meet such a superb guy. Oh no, it's God. It's a pity that Zhao Fei doesn't know what this Henan goddess is thinking, otherwise he will definitely scoff at it. Compared with a certain old man surnamed Hua, he is simply a small devil seeing a big devil, and it is not worth mentioning. After Rina heard Zhao Fei's words, she gave him a thumbs up, indicating that she was willing to bow down. This guy is not at the same level at all compared to the group of dicks he has been in contact with during this time. Okay, you win. For Rina's behavior, Zhao Fei raised his head arrogantly, like a big rooster fighting victory. Then Rina sighed. I was thinking that there would be a chance to win you over, but now it seems impossible. Zhao Fei was immediately anxious when he heard it, and hurriedly spoke. What kind of main god? How can you give up so easily? You should struggle a little more. Rina spoke unhappily after hearing Zhao Fei's words. Damn, you teach me? How should I struggle? At your point, there is no shortage of equipment, unless you are given a 4th-generation god body. Or give you a celestial computer. If you read a violent novel, go to Feilun Novel Network. Do you think I gave these things? Zhao Fei nodded very approvingly at Rina's roar, and when Rina finished speaking, Zhao Fei glanced at the other party. Speaking in a meaningful tone. It doesn't matter if you don't have a celestial computer or a 4th-generation god body, because you're missing something. Rina suddenly felt blindfolded. In addition to these 2 play accidents, she had something else missing. Immediately after seeing Zhao Fei's meaningful eyes, Layla reacted instantly. With his hands in front of his chest, he took 2 steps back in fear and spoke in disbelief. I'll go. It turns out that you were the idea to beat this goddess. Isn't this nonsense? Besides your shot, what else can I look up to? At this time, Rina also reacted instinctively. Put your hands down, turn back to your normal appearance, and speak in a didactic tone. It seems that the charm of this goddess is really big enough, but you can use legitimate means to pursue this goddess. I won't mind. If you join the power, then this goddess gives you a chance to pursue me. And there's also the matter of Qilin. What are you going to do? Zhao Fei looked at the nagging Rina from the side, and the corners of her mouth couldn't help twitching. There are really a lot of these silly scenes. No, not only a lot, but also a lot of brain supplements. Where did she get the confidence to think that she would be in such trouble? At this time, Rina found Zhao Fei standing there in a daze, and hurriedly stretched out her jade hand and raised it a few times in front of Zhao Fei. Hey, you guy. What kind of attitude is this? At this time, Zhao Fei also reacted and hurriedly started spraying. Damn, you simple goddess is really a common believer. Who told you that if I want you, I have to join your son? Haven't you heard a word? If you like it, you will be robbed, and you will be abducted directly, and after a few years, you will be asked to carry a few white and chubby children back to Liang, and they will recognize you if they don't recognize it. And what do you say Qilin does? Don't you know what it means to eat all? It's not that you don't know, my dream is to be an emperor. Come to a wave of harem beauties 3,000. You think I'll really do something like getting into your scorching sun? After listening to Zhao Fei's words, Rena also unceremoniously started spraying. I'll go. I feel that you scumbag is planning to prostitute for nothing. No, it should be said that you will get on the bus first, and then make up the ticket. You also said that you are an emperor, and now you don't even have a territory. Dare to ask which emperor you are from the ravine? And TMD, isn't the hint from your eyes to the old lady that you want me? I am the main god of the sun, and I will definitely think of you joining the sun. Go, go, I just said that the sun is only you, I can see it. Don't be mistaken. After all, she is also a great goddess, and there is definitely a road to pull you into the harem. Get out. You say I'm a great goddess, I agree with that, but if you want me to join your harem, it's a dream. Now you're poor and white. After hearing Rena's words, Fei shouted unhappily. You wait for me, and when the time comes, I will definitely let Pension's old man obediently tie you to my bed. Okay, you really have that ability, you don't need Lao Pan to do it, I'll wash it myself and send it to the door. Well, you don't have to pay for it when the time comes. Humph. Whoever has that is a dog. Immediately after the two of them snorted at the same time, they had no choice but to run to practice, while Zhao Fei chose to go back to the room to rest. It's just that the people who were training nearby could hear the conversation between the two of them clearly. Cow, what's wrong with this big brother statement that a man is perverted? It simply speaks our hearts. Brother Fei is really a cow. When I awakened my superpowers, I just wanted to chase 10 schoolgirls. As a result, he even wanted to be the emperor and have a harem of 3,000 beauties. Yes, Emma, this big brother doesn't look like he's joking. Just when the group of bigwigs went out to discuss, Rose on the side snorted coldly. Hey, men are not a good thing. Especially you Gu Xiaolun, you still want to chase 10 schoolgirls, dream. After finishing speaking, he ran away directly, leaving Gu Xiaolun who was innocently lying on the gun. And Gu Xiaolun was dumbfounded when he heard Rose's words. No, Rose, I just said, just talk. Hey, listen to me. Then he hurriedly chased after him, feeling very aggrieved in his heart, and carried a cauldron for no reason. What is this called?